Okay, nice. We're live, so finally getting this done. Even though I said I would do it a bit about 4 hours ago. Not 4 hours. I said I'd do it in 4 hours, and I've only just got started. So let's set this all up. Just going to tweet this out, and then we'll get started. I hope everyone's okay, and if you're watching this later, hopefully we'll have a good stream. We'll see what happens. All right, so I got the chat. And yes, if you're watching already, I don't need to explain the sunglasses. I've told you last week, and I'm not wearing my ugly anti-migraine glasses, so we'll see how it goes. All right, let's just tweet this out, and then we'll get started. But yeah, I tried to make a video on this whole Ben Shapiro thing on Friday, but I had to, because my computer's been really messing up, I had to do it in one take, and I just couldn't get it right, so I just didn't bother in the end. So live streaming right now, and then join. We'll take the lot. What movie is that from? We'll take the lot. I will love anyone forever if they know what that's from. All right, let's get the chat up. Oh, damn. Does it look okay? Okay, because I'm wearing sunglasses, it looks really weird. We'll take the lot. All right, hi Kennedy. It's some title you have there. I believe it though. Can I explain my post? Do you mean the crying face of I feel like pure shit, I just want her back? That's that one, do you mean? I hate that I know that reference. We'll take the lot. We'll take the fucking lot. Yeah, so basically it's just you've not seen it, it's just a meme. So basically someone must have just Snapchatted when a girl broke up with them, and then someone just posted it on Twitter like 5 or 6 years ago, and it's just so so stupid. So I feel like pure shit, I just want her back. I feel like pure shit, but not gonna lie, she's pure filth, mate. Hi Jukabad, hi Joel, and hi everyone, thanks for joining. But yeah, with the Harry Potter references out the way, and some other stuff out the way, we'll take the lot. Me when I finish my Diet Coke, feel like pure shit, just want it back. It's me with anything. Feel like pure as shit, mate, just want it back. So anyway, yeah, so I wanted to make a video on that Ben Shapiro stuff. Let me check my door closed, right? On the Ben Shapiro stuff, but people had made it before. I was a bit late anyway, so I didn't know if I should. And then, yeah, like I was saying, I tried to record it on my phone, had to do it in one take. I got to about like 4 minutes in, then I messed up. And because I'm used to recording on a camera where you can mess up, I like in my brain, I thought it was okay to mess up. So I made a really bad mistake and stopped. And I was like, shit, I can't edit this, it's on my phone. And if you know anything about, like, if you have an iPhone, it's actually a nightmare to get videos off it if they're a certain size. So yeah, I just said fuck it, and I didn't do it. But so Kennedy says I love tenants to conservatives. I have the same politics as ISIS. Hi Red Leader, thanks for joining us. Basically, imagine Ben Shapiro is your dad, and his response to you being taught about equality as a kid is I'm going to murder you. How is that not like an Islamist or ISIS or anything? Because what your response to your kid becoming more tolerant is that. And it just shows, like I always say, American conservatives are the far right. How is that not a far right answer? It's not even like I just want to educate my kids in this religion, and it's obviously very bigoted and anti-gay and all this stuff. But at the same time, whatever. But then this one's like super militant, like I will meet Beto O'Rourke with a gun. I will fucking murder Beto O'Rourke if he makes it like a federal mandate to teach children about the LGBT community. And I love his use of the word indoctrinate, because that's no different to what Islamists use. And there was a great someone screen cap 2 Dave Rubin tweets where he's saying about how tolerant Islamic parents in Birmingham are for protesting the school for teaching their children about LGBT community and rights and stuff, and then he backs up Ben Shapiro. So it's like completely different, and it shows how full of shit they are. They will literally back the Islamist position, despite them hating Muslims, if a Christian does it. And what I always think is people like Jordan Peterson and all these Christian people, a lot of their ideology is exactly the same as Islamic fundamentalism. Because at the end of the day, that is all conservatism, religious conservatism, conservatism as well. So it's not actually surprising they're so similar. But I think it's just, you know, funny how ignorant they are of how similar they are. They could become quite good friends, to be honest, Islamists and the American far right, or American conservatives, as they like to call themselves. But yeah, so yeah, Ben is clearly a religious extremist. Yeah, exactly. And that sort of rhetoric about being militantly anti-gay, it fuels stuff in the far right, and I got no problem saying he's part of the alt-right, even though people get a bit butthurt saying, oh, but Ben Shapiro's Jewish, don't the neo-Nazis hate Jewish people? But obviously the like sort of Trumpian alt-right isn't as hostile to Jewish people as the traditional neo-Nazis because of Trump's support for Israel, Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump, all being Jewish and stuff. But I definitely think minorities can be part of the alt-right. Look at Andy No and stuff like that. It reminds me of how anti-Semites are able to be Zionists for the sake of Israeli apartheid. Yeah, and because I made that video maybe like a couple months ago about how white Christians super love Israel because of like a really anti-Semitic viewing of Israel, thinking that Christians are actually the new Jews, and even though the Jews are there to start the apocalypse and Armageddon, the Jews will all die in Armageddon and the Christians will take over. So yeah, is lovely ideology, this American religion, which is somehow really, really crazy. I don't understand why it's gotten so much more crazy in a lot of the world. Although I love the way they talk about Judeo-Christian values, and Uganda have just passed a law to make being gay punishable by death, and they're basing it on laws passed by the British Empire. So is that the great Judeo-Christian society you guys have in your head when you talk about it all the time? Do you know what I mean? They're just such hypocrites. They're just so full of shit as well. The far right nowadays more focused on hating Muslims. Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of them do hate Jews. I think Jews control the world and stuff. But I think the new sort of alt-right are a bit more, what's the word? Yeah, like you saying that they're more united in their hatred of Muslims rather than their hatred of Jews. So Kennedy's saying that Judeo-Christian values like turning away Jews fleeing the Holocaust. Yeah, exactly. Anne Frank, didn't she try to go to America with her family, and America turned them back and they all got killed? So, well, apart from Otto Frank, you are a Jewish psyop. I don't even understand what that's meant to mean, but if you think I'm part of a Jewish conspiracy that controls all the media, I don't know if they'd really waste their time with me if that was real. Prove to me you're not a Zionist shill, Tabernacle. I don't need to prove shit to you, whoever you are. Red Leader saying, I really want to hear a theological scholar explain why evangelists and American Christians are so extreme. Obviously the bigotry is built on the same bias, but seem to have diverged. Yeah, it's a weird one about Americans in particular. I don't know if it has something to do with a lot of the people who initially fled England were too extreme for Oliver Cromwell and the Puritans, because their religion was so much worse for some reason. So yeah, and then they fled to America. But then you have a lot of weird Christians, like George Washington. It's like a deist, isn't he? And a lot of the founding fathers aren't really conventional Christians. So, by the way, I'll ban this guy in a sec. But everyone here, you realise this guy's a Jew sympathiser. He wants to kill you. What does that even mean? How can he hates God? Do you think people don't know I'm anti-religion? By the way, I don't know if you've ever. I hate children. I hate children. Yeah, I do hate children. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I've seen this guy before. Is he a troll or is he a legit person? I'll go on his channel quick before I decide if I want to ban him or not. Oh, Alex Jones quotes. Oh, okay. Oh, you're just quoting Alex Jones. So are you a normal person, by the way, or are you actually accusing me of being part of like an anti-Semitic conspiracy? Um, they replace their religion or combine their religion with Reaganism. Yeah, well, that's part of it, isn't it? Like that's modern insane Christianity, but it goes back further than Ronald Reagan, obviously, because Eisenhower changed all the stuff to "In God We Trust" on the coins, changed the Pledge of Allegiance. So you talk about God and everything. So I think America has had a massive problem with it forever, and I think America's fear of communism or like hysteria around communism is something that's been so detrimental to the country. I'm just thinking about the Vietnam War in particular, but the whole Cold War and just can you believe that you would be put on like a blacklist in America for being a communist? Can you believe that's even a thing? Like you were banned from work, especially in Hollywood. You were banned from making films because they thought you were trying to brainwash people with communism, even though films, since they began in America, have been brainwashing people about white supremacy and capitalism the whole time. But if you dare put in some socialist themes into your films in the 40s and 50s, then yeah, you're going to be completely kicked out of Hollywood. Might get a nice visit from the FBI as well. Maybe someone will accuse you of being a spy for the Soviet Union. It's absolutely mental. I think people are obviously people talk about McCarthyism all the time, but like I think people have normalized that stuff a bit more because that is absolutely crazy, and it's something most even back then, the UK and France they weren't like trying to round up communists and like banning communists from work. In France, a lot of the parliament became communist after the war. In Britain, you obviously have like the Labour Party, which is socialist, especially back then. So it's pretty mental when I think about it. It's a lot of stuff in America. Like when you think about it, without all the bullshit they normally push around. I don't know. So I was thinking about the Vietnam War, for example, and I was thinking about it's literally like some of the worst atrocities in the modern history, but it's so sanitized, for example, that no one thinks of it as what it is, essentially genocide, spraying like defoliants across a whole country, poisoning them, poisoning their crops and poisoning the people for generations. That's not genocide, while you're literally slaughtering civilians as a matter of policy in terms of the way you operate in the military. It's just absolutely crazy. And can you imagine if the Soviet Union did that? And I think the Soviet Union in Afghanistan gets a bit of a pass because America hates Muslims, so they don't give a shit that the Soviets are just being so brutal to the Afghanis. But I think, and obviously because America has their own war with the Afghanis now, so I think the Soviets got a bit off the hook with that. But if the Soviets did Vietnam, they would not get off the hook. They would be, we'd be taught about that forever, about how awful that is. But because it's America, it gets covered up so much. Charles saying we never talk about how the black Jews are being oppressed in Israel. Yeah, it's interesting. There was that Chris Evans film that came out recently about the airlift during the Ethiopian famine of Ethiopian Jews to Israel, but it doesn't really get into how crazy the racism is that they face there even today, even though they are Jewish, just because they're black. So Antilles saying different sects got ousted, deists like Paine got ostracised, and Quakers kind of lost control. It's always interesting to me that JFK was the first Catholic POTUS. Didn't JFK have to sign something that said he was loyal to the US and not to the Pope? Because that's how dumb they were about Catholics. So wait, let's go a bit. They had assassinations as well. It wasn't just blacklisting; it was the whole gamut. Who was assassinated? And also the way they like try to paint, for example, the civil rights movement as a socialist, not socialist, a communist conspiracy directed from Moscow is so like funny. Just they couldn't see, oh, these people might actually be protesting for civil rights. People like J. Edgar Hoover and Nixon were like, no, these guys must be working for the Soviets to undermine us. So Antilles said they thought It's a Wonderful Life was planning a Marxist revolution. Really, I've never heard of that one. It's Frank Capra, isn't it? He filmed the war for the Americans. But then he directed It's a Wonderful Life when he got back. Even today, when the Red Scare comes up, people like Tapper seem to frame it as people got wrongly accused and that's bad. Instead, you didn't finish your comment. Instead of talking about how arresting commies in the first place was wrong, it's like no lying was the problem. The making political ideas illegal was wrong. Yeah, that's the Free Speech Brigade. Why do Dave Rubin, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro never talk about how bad the Red Scare was and how bad McCarthyism was? They might use McCarthyism in their language to talk about them being persecuted or some shit like that, but we all know they're never going to say it was actually bad, because in America especially, conservatives are just totally full of shit. Do you think all these people, like, I think about all the people like Dave Rubin has on his channel, like Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, do you think deep down, or do you think in private, they talk about like how they don't actually believe a lot of the stuff? I think Ben Shapiro is a bit of a zealot, but I think some of the others definitely don't believe in it. And I remember when Milo Yiannopoulos said basically a lot of the neo-Nazis on YouTube don't actually believe in it, they're just in it for the money, which is interesting. But can you imagine becoming a Nazi for the money? Hi Michael, thanks for joining. Trail of Tears, yeah, that's another one. Well, America, that's what Hitler said. He says the innocence they maintain in the wake of them carrying out genocide for like over 100 years is something to be replicated, he thought. The way they acted like it wasn't a big deal. And in the same way you're taught it in school, I guess, in America, is like the Indians show the Pilgrims how to farm, but you never get taught where where all the Indians went. So I'm just reading some comments. Okay, it went up the top. Black Panther leaders. Oh, okay, yeah. Huey. Who's a singer? Huey Lewis is the singer. Huey Newton is the one who was assassinated by the FBI. Is it? Yeah. Huey Newton was not Huey Newton. There's another Huey. Huey Newton is the other civil rights activist. Who am I thinking of? Who was the one who was assassinated? Who the hell am I thinking of? No, Malcolm X is not who I'm thinking of. Not Huey Long, the former governor of the internet. Wait, FBI assassinate Black Panthers. Fred Hampton, that's who I'm thinking of. Fred Hampton, not Huey Newton. Fred Hampton, there you go. That's one of the people who was assassinated by the FBI. It's actually mental when you read that story. Like, going to his house or his apartment with his pregnant girlfriend or something, and just start shooting through the walls without any provocation. Can't even say it. We want better lives. You'd only say that if you're a Soviet plant. Yeah, exactly. It's like them saying Soros is funding Black Lives Matter. I don't doubt they actually do. Like, Soros was funding the migrant caravan and putting ISIS in it, all that crazy shit they were peddling. Even today, Red Leader and Tilly's saying, even today we see that false flag BS, Russiagate people read so much into some Russian bots retweeting Stein and some Black Lives Matter stuff, anything to ignore actually listening. The thing with the Russiagate stuff is I obviously believe Trump is dirty and probably has some massive conflicts of interest with the Russians, or even if they might have some dirt on him. But the Russiagate stuff is so crazy that people think a lot of these politicians are literally directed by Moscow, to, like Jill Stein, or even people saying Tulsi Gabbard recently. And I was like, even though I super disagree with them, I think people like Tulsi Gabbard are super weird in some of their stances. I don't think they're directed by Russia to make me feel better about what they're saying. So, heard from a friend that Ben wanted a protest at the school he was speaking at. Which one was that? Also, how many Ferguson activists has ended up dead? It's like that fucking guy I was talking about last week who was killed for speaking at the trial of that guy who the cop walked into his house and killed him, and then he was killed, and that other woman. It's obviously like still going on, a lot of that shit. Fred Hampton, yeah. Texas police killed someone through their window yesterday. I didn't read about this. British Protestants have been oppressing Catholics for thousands of years. I don't know if they still are, but yeah, I agree as someone who is from Catholic background, or Irish Catholic background, yeah, Protestants are shit. But to be honest, when I've said this before, when the Irish got power in Ireland in the 30s, well, not in the 30s, but the stuff they started doing in the 30s was so fucking stupid. It's so fucking fanatical and fascist. It's crazy what Ireland actually became after the fucking revolution and civil war. Pretty depressing, actually. Same with America, but I guess the only good things you see about America is because the whole thing's been warped by like modern teaching of history and everything. In Merida, my friend was the SGA president. Oh, okay. And why did he want to protest at school? So an anarchist activist in Seattle was run down by an SUV outside of a leftist bar in the city. Not really the same thing because he was likely murdered by actual fascists. Yeah, do you think that's the thing? It's like fascist groups murdering them rather than the American institutions, but obviously a lot of them probably look the other way, and there was loads of neo-Nazis in the police anyway. Redley then said, I have my issues with my Catholic family and broke away, but man, the Church of England pissed me off. The Church of England is better than the Catholic Church on a lot of stuff, but obviously the oppression of Ireland is something that's really shit and went on for years. A Texas woman shot in her own home. Police never announced themselves. Look it up. Seems like an execution. Okay, let me have a look at this. So I'm just going to research Texas woman shot in her own home. Oh, this just happened. A black woman was shot and killed by a white police officer after her neighbours called dispatchers to report the woman's front door was open. The officers were searching the perimeter of the woman's home when they saw a person standing in the window inside, and one of them opened fire, killing her. This is actually so mental. Why would you ever call the police in America? They came because the door was open, and then they're shooting without even realising who it's the lady's own house. So fucking awful. I think people were saying on Twitter today, it's like, what the actual hell is wrong with Americans? Like, what is seriously wrong with you? Because I don't like saying shit like this because obviously Britain is fucked as well. But some of the basic things Americans are generally okay with because they're so brainwashed. Obviously, I'm not talking about a lot of you guys or all of you guys. I mean, there's at least probably like 100 million people who are so brainwashed by the Republican Party, by Christianity, by conservative bullshit. They literally will put up with that. Like, Blue Lives Matter, when they're doing crap like that, that should be enough to completely change the laws. Body cameras for everyone, you can't turn them off. Independent police reviews of all this sort of shit. But you just, because you're such, not you guys, but, you know, Americans in general worship the military, worship the police, worship all these fucking awful groups. You just don't do anything while this continues to happen. It's the same with mass shootings. It's the same with government corruption. And the fact that Trump is president, and literally, it's not even a debate. He's looting the country and just driving it into the ground with his cronies. But that's like not even a controversy. That's not something you can really say. Do you know what I mean? Even liberals show too much respect. It's like, Mr. President, the president, and then even when, what I hate most is when people give credit to the far right or the American right for getting one thing. Like, I hate it when Jimmy Dore or the Young Turks, like, Tucker Carlson said one good thing. He said that Amazon should pay tax. Let's give him credit for that. That is total crap because, one, he probably doesn't actually think that. He's just trying to maybe get in some people's good books and pretend he's on their side, especially when he gets paid millions by a propaganda network. And the things that Fox News has done to America and the world, giving us the Bush presidency, propaganda for the Iraq War, 24/7 leading up to it and everything. So, yeah, that's what annoys me. So the anarchist died. Portland needed Antifa hangout. Anthony's saying at this point, is there a difference between cops and hate groups? That was rhetorical. Cops were essentially hitmen. This shit in Texas is good proof of that. Yeah, exactly. Red leader saying, I guess they thought that the neighbour was getting robbed and accidentally got the police to murder them. If it was well-meaning, that makes it even more depressing. Fuck blue lives. All cops are bad. Yeah, I agree. In America's case, definitely. And even in the UK, I have a problem with police. And it's not that, like on the surface, like British police are way better. But when it comes to things like climate protests and everything, like, you know who they're going to side with. They're going to side with the government all the time. They're going to side with the people doing these things. You can't trust them. And you essentially, joining the army and police, you're selling out your own class and your own people, because you're going to work for the interests of the government and do that, and you're doing the dirty work. You're being the militant ones. You're, for example, if you're in the army, you're clearing out Iraq for British companies and American companies, and you're dying for nothing, and your friends are dying for nothing, and you're literally giving your whole mental well-being to the state for them to, you know, do awful things to other countries. With police as well, like I get police being a little more attractive in terms of, you can think, oh, I'm protecting my community, I'm going to help them out, I'm going to stop the bad people. But we know that's how pretty much it doesn't work most of the time. It's that you target a certain group of society and treat them like absolute garbage. So in both England and the US, police racism is awful. Obviously, times 100 for the extent it is worse in America. But at the same time, still selling out no matter where you're being a police. Although I did see something cool yesterday. I saw in Ecuador, the police and the army were fighting each other because the army were protecting some protesters. It was pretty cool. I was just liking watching them together. So one sec. When it comes to the American right, says Dobry or Dorby, the right in general is a broken clock and be right ever so often. Yeah, I guess, but I wouldn't give them any credit for it. Republicans and radical Islamists are two peas in a pod. America has two right-wing parties. Yeah, I agree with both of those sentiments. The fact that, like, the American conservatives call CNN and the Democratic Party and people like Nancy Pelosi as leftists is actually the most crazy thing ever. Imagine being... I just don't know how fucking dumb you have to be. And I've made a video saying about, you know, how much do I have personal, I guess, animosity towards people who vote for Trump, or do I just feel like they're a product of their society? But at the same time, sometimes I'm thinking, you're just so stupid. Like, how... sometimes with right-wing politicians, I'm like, I get it. Like, Nigel Farage, I get to an extent why people vote for him, because he's very good at making himself seem like a man of the people, for example, and being like this old school British working class person, even though he's a rich ex-banker and stuff. But with Donald Trump, it's not even an act. He doesn't even try and pretend he's anything other than he is. He talks about how great he is at business, and the fact America worship that, and even the 3 years on from when he became president, people still support him by the millions is nuts, because he's never done one thing for anyone in his administration. I can't think, there hasn't been one good policy for anyone who doesn't make, I don't know, $1 million a year or more. So America, just dumbest fucking people ever. And like I said, it's not a lot of their fault in terms of, you might want to think it is because you deal with these people and you see how hateful and ignorant they are. But at the same time, I think what the Ellen and George Bush thing shows is that these people at the top, they don't give a shit about the differences. They're not fighting each other about religion or who's gay or not, but they'll make you fight about it, because what does it do? It keeps you distracted, keeps you focusing on immigrants stealing your jobs, apparently, even though immigrants are normally used as like slave labour to make the food you eat, to pick the food you eat, and all these different industries. So yeah, it's absolutely mental. But one way I rationalise it in my head is I think we like to delude ourselves and think because of the American Revolution, French Revolution, the people have the power. But to be honest, it's just feudalism is just morphed into something different, and it's essentially the same today. Like, obviously, we convince ourselves we have some freedom and we have some, I guess, some free will, and we can change things. But at the end of the day, we can't change things. Think about this country, for example. The people in power are the same people in power for the last 1,000 years. And we might have some more, sort of voices now with Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party. Thank God the Labour Party existed in the late 1800s and then got into power in the early 1900s. But at the same time, look what happens. The Conservatives don't go away. The Liberal Party got crushed by the Labour Party, but the Conservatives have always been here. And I'm pretty sure they always will be here. And I'm really scared they're going to win another election because they just have such a tight grip on power. And it's not about, I guess, them convincing you the policies are good enough. It's just the propaganda is so strong, and the press are in bed with the rich parties. The same in America, to the extent that you've got two right-wing parties making sure no one else challenges them, because they're going to hate Bernie Sanders if he becomes president. The media are going to turn on him big time. I think the media are going to be, or the left-wing media are going to be more hostile to Bernie Sanders than Donald Trump, because he challenges the historic control of these groups. And yeah, that's what's not nice to see. But I think at the same time, deluding yourself if you think we're somehow any different from the people like 500, 600, 700 years ago, because in practice it's just pretty much the same thing. They control everything, and as much as we want to believe that we have a lot of say and we can change things, look at the climate change. Just look at the debate on climate change. Look how that's been muddied because so many people have been brainwashed to worship capitalism, where the most offensive thing for them is a little girl who's advocating for governments to be more serious about climate change. Isn't it insane we live in a world where she is loathed by millions of people? Why? It's a harmless, innocent girl with literally a pretty benign message on the surface of it. I know if you dig a bit deeper into what she's saying, it is very anti-capitalist in some places, essentially saying your generation, through your greed, is destroying the planet. But I mean, on the surface, to the average person, they don't read that much into that. They see a young girl advocating to really make the world a better place. But it's just crazy how hostile people have become to her. So I'm just going to read up. I've been talking for a bit. Okay. Rationalising the police. The police in the United States have killed 30% of the black population. Police act under the Labour government's 2 cav. Yeah, I'm not saying it's Robert Peel, wasn't it, who invented the police in 1829, but yeah. I'm not necessarily saying they're a good thing, but I can understand in theory why someone might want to become a policeman if they're super naive. Kennedy saying the police under any government are bad because they're there to keep you from getting away with the fun shit. They do stuff on bad shit, but also a lot of fun, good shit. Yeah, like drugs, for example. Brian, just ignore the decades of social conservatism and nationalism and KKK that define the Republican Party. Yeah, exactly. Michael saying, the title of the video, I don't believe Shapiro holds any real views other than winning the argument. I still think he's a religious zealot. I think he genuinely is super homophobic because of his religion. The fact that these people are in power is another reason there isn't any hope for this world. Yeah, exactly. America would have been much better if post-Civil War, the radical wing of the Republican Party at the time ended up becoming the dominant force. They also say because Lincoln died, they just went really easy on the Confederates and just didn't change the system of slavery enough. White Americans have turned the working class against themselves. I'm surprised that white Americans even consider themselves part of the working class. I think a lot of them don't. It's a joke, isn't it? Like, a lot of Americans consider themselves millionaires in waiting, and that's why they're so supportive of all these billionaires and millionaires. So it's just because the American dream. I had a video on it before. Like, the American dream just keeps you sedated. You know, if you work hard, get your head down, and you grind, America is such a good place of opportunity. You're gonna make it. You might not become a millionaire, but anyone can become president. You have a nice life. You know, the white picket fence, car, house, kids, whatever. Have a good job where your wife doesn't have to work. You know, obviously it's an old sexist view of what the dream is, but I think some people still believe that. And the thing is, a lot of immigrants help boost this viewpoints, because a lot of immigrants absolutely hate, love America because of the opportunity they get there rather than in some of the countries they come from. But at the same time, I don't realise it's still like awful. It's just better from where you came from. They hate Bernie. Sorry. Durabi saying, "Hey, I'm white working class person. Not all of us support the splitting of the working class here in the US." Yeah, Durabi, I don't think I was saying that at all. That like all working class people support Donald Trump, because even if you look at the statistics, that's not true. And also, I think it's a bit of a myth that everyone who supports Donald Trump is just some white working class person. Loads of white middle class people support Donald Trump, and I think that's something that doesn't get said enough. I just think you have to be insane to support him, but there's different reasons why people do. Wait, sorry. White Americans have used their tax dollars to fuck the planet. Well, all your tax dollars, it's not just white Americans, all the tax dollars getting used to destroy the planet. If you're American, think of what... That's another thing I don't get right. Americans, libertarians, Republicans, they're talking about taxation all the time. Think of all the money, taxes, you know, tax money that's been spent on never-ending wars. Think of all the money that gets spent every day on a bomb, on, you know, training new soldiers, equipping them, and doing whatever. It's just insane that that's tolerable. But universal health, that's another thing I was saying about lately. The debate about universal healthcare in America is, again, insane. Why is there such a debate about it? Again, in Britain, we got it in 1948. 1948. Nearly everyone in the chats here, your parents weren't alive then. Your grandparents might have been young. My grandma was 18, she's 90 now. Or she's 90 next year. That's the sort of extent of the brainwashing we're talking about in America. And Cuba's super fucking poor. Cuba has it. So Michael's saying, I don't know about the Tories winning the next election. Dear Boris has done a bang up job of dividing them. Yeah, hopefully. Oh man, thank you, Curious Wanderer, for the donation. Sorry if you commented already. I'm just still reading through them. But yeah, I super appreciate that, man. I always appreciate the support. So yeah, I'm just catching up. Charles saying, ironically, Irish Catholics came to this country as an oppressed race that quickly learned that to succeed, they had to in turn oppress their closest social class, Northern blacks. So it happens a lot, especially with white immigrants. They assimilate easier, don't they, in the end, and then they become basically the same as the country they are in. So Irish Americans, for example, they're not oppressed at all, are they? There's no anti-Irish sentiment in America anymore. They're part of the ruling class now. The media treats Bernie like shit. Yeah. Do you? We got a live one in the chat. A socialist. Doug saying, "Hi, Kavanaugh. What are your thoughts on Xi Jinping saying to the leader of Nepal that any attempt to divide China will end in failure?" Doug, can you elaborate on that point a bit more? Because I don't understand exactly what you want me to say. Any attempt to divide China will end in failure. Do you mean like the threat, or do you mean, do I want to comment on if China can be divided or something? Christy, hi Christy, Shapiro is a trolling twat. He is a twat. I don't know if he's trolling though. I think he seriously believes all this crap. Cav looking dope as fuck, bro. Do you like my glasses, Christy? It's because of all these fucking migraines I've been having, but since I've been wearing fucking sunglasses, I haven't had any. Even that, I haven't felt great last 2 days. I think it's like a placebo thing. I just feel comfort wearing these or these. Even though I forgot these and I was driving tonight, so I had to wear these. And I actually think I got a speeding ticket because I didn't see the fucking camera. Hopefully I didn't get one. It did flash me, I think. Sorry. Oh, it always goes back to the top. God, I love this channel. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, speaking of the channel, always at 7k subs. If you know anyone who might like my channel, please tell them. Just 100 to go. I need that one video. Also, before I get back to all the other stuff I was talking about, I made a video on Friday. It got 200 views, right? And you might think, you know, some videos just don't do well. Basically, what happened is I uploaded that video and it got confirmed by review to be demonetized. And what that essentially means is no ads are going to run on it by YouTube's review. It also means you're not going to get any views. But then I uploaded it again, and what my little brother was telling me is that if you upload it again with the same file name, they know it's the same video. So when it actually went up, the reason it's only got 200 views despite having like a good amount of likes, like 56 likes or whatever, is because YouTube know that's the same file. So they have demonetized it permanently, even though I didn't think, it doesn't say it on the settings, which is quite annoying because I was on a nice streak there of getting like 1,000 at least every video for like a couple of weeks. So Antilles saying yes to the radical wing, talking about the Republican Party in the 1860s. Like the more I learn of Fremont and the Radical Democracy Party, the more I lament what went wrong. They almost won against Lincoln from the left. Some of them kept fighting like third parties like Greenback to fight the party corruption on certain issues. Yeah, it is crazy how there's these certain moments in history where it just all goes to fucking shit because the people who would have made it better just don't get into power. Christy said, if I hear one more Americans say taxes are theft or this is a republic, not a democracy, I might actually scream. Even if they believe that, think about what your taxes are being spent on and what stuff, you know, they're against socialized medicine, but they're for using it on bombs. Brian saying, Mexican immigrants come to the United States and start hating black Americans because their European cousins told them to. They're pathetic. Yeah, obviously, that's always a problem, isn't it? Like, people in Ireland, instead of having solidarity, it's like they turn on each other. America's a good example. You're talking about Mexicans, but the Italians, the Irish coming over and they hate black people as well. I'm Curious Wonder, he donated again, man. Too nice. Thanks a lot. And hi, Cav. What do you think about the independence in the USA? What is the origin of the Aryan race? Will Northern Ireland seclude itself from the UK? Independence in the USA, I don't know too much about that in terms of, I know Bernie Sanders is an independent, but he is part of the Democratic Party as well. So, yeah, while I appreciate being an independent and I think it's good, at the same time, it's depressing how much control the Republicans and Democrats have in terms of when they saw how many votes Ralph Nader and who's the other guy? Ross Perot were taken away from Bill Clinton and Bush and Bob Dole. They came together like, we're not letting this happen again. So you've never seen a good third party run since Ralph Nader. What is the origin of the Aryan race? I always thought the Aryan race was it's like white Anglo-Saxon crap. So it's like, I always thought Aryan described English, French, and German. I thought that's what Aryan meant. It's like a mixture of all these different groups, like more pale Europeans. Obviously, it doesn't mean like Slav, Italian, or Spanish, because Germans and white supremacists normally think that if you're tanned, even though you might technically be white, you obviously have Muslim and Jewish blood in you, so you're not Aryan. And your last point, will Northern Ireland seclude itself from the UK? That's a hard one. I can see it in the future, but especially with the population shift going to happen in Northern Ireland, with Catholics going to become in the majority. We'll see how the Brexit stuff goes. It's such a shit show at the moment. You just don't know what's going to happen. So it could. Whether it would join Ireland or not is another question, I guess. So Antilles is saying we need that kind of radical leftism and bravery to fight our own party. Okay, talking about today in the Democratic Party. Until we make the better ones, never Trumpers will kill us all in the long run. Yeah, exactly. The centrist liberals will always like ruin everything just because they got no spine. It's like Ellen. That's what I was going to do the live stream on actually, but I didn't. It's all these fucking people saying how great that Ellen stuff was. It's absolutely insane. Like Jamie Foxx. Were these people asleep for the Iraq War? Obviously, the answer is these people were all famous during the Iraq War, so nothing ever fucking affects them, nor does 2008. I'm so happy someone like Mark Ruffalo exists. It just says we should not be rehabilitating and forgiving someone who basically hasn't apologised in the first place and doesn't deserve it. I hate my American taxes getting spent on bombing brown people. Same thing. I hate all the British tax money being spent on a similar thing. Stop bragging about having healthcare. I'm always too old to be on my parents' plan. I'm very frightened. That's so bad. Someone I follow on Twitter from Real Progressives called Joy. She recently got fired from her job, and now she's not going to be able to afford her healthcare which she needs. It's just mental. Like, I feel so awful for these people. But here's the thing: surely there's millions of Trump voters in a similar situation, but they still vote for Trump. And I know people always vote against their own interests. That's not what I'm saying. It's like, it's such a desperate situation, isn't it? It's not just like something like the bin men or something. They don't know that voting for Trump means the bins won't get collected on time. It's literally like, you're gonna die from not having health insurance, or you're gonna be bankrupted from not having health insurance. Even if you do have health insurance, you could often bankrupted. And doesn't that make you wake up and realise, well, who's actually advocating for me getting proper healthcare? When are you going to learn you can stream with live chat disabled? Why would I disable the live chat? That's the whole fun of it. Cuba made a lung cancer vaccine. Yeah, it is pretty amazing how good their healthcare is. Cuba's kicking ass in the medical field. Sorry. Oh yeah, Brantley is here. Hi, Brantley. Americans are so arrogant that they won't even look at their European cousins for better metrics of social progress. Yeah, exactly. I hope it all burns. Our town was renamed to an Irish name. What was it renamed to? I think it's also easier for white immigrants to assimilate into British society and then in turn look down on non-white Britons. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's loads of bad history still between the Irish, but people have, when I've gone to job interviews, people have recognised I have an Irish name. They've said something about it. But you'd think that no one is like looking at my CV and be like, oh, Kavanagh, oh, stupid Fenian, stupid Republican, get him out. Sorry, I'm just catching up. Aryans are actually Indians. It's really strange. Yeah, I read something about that. It's to do with Alexander the Great. I was reading something. And it's about how these groups in India, one was Aryan, or no, isn't Aryan Iranian Indian? That's what Samir just said. I know Iranians used to say they were Aryan. But yeah, I guess that's the historic one. It's like Semites, Arabs are Semites and stuff, but now it's changed to basically meaning Jewish people. And how Aryan now means basically like Western European white. So is the human race irredeemable, just Americans? Well, socialists believe that, this whole rubbish about capitalism is just human nature and greed is just human nature isn't actually true. Whereas, a lot of people just argue, yeah, that is how the world is. You'll never stop capitalism and greed because humans are like that. Humans in general, I think humans are just fucking stupid, and it makes it easier to control them, and that means the people who are evil geniuses and smart, then they get to the top, they just make sure they stay at the top, and they're good at manipulating the public and just controlling the public, and they've always been good at it. Like, think of all the serfs back in the day, in terms of like medieval England. There's so many of them, and you have peasant rebellions, but why aren't they all rebel? Why aren't they all having these massive revolutions? And a lot of the time when these countries do have revolutions, it's just led by another aristocrat who wants to topple them, and that's how you can view the American Revolution in a lot of ways. It's a bunch of rich people just trying to not pay as much taxes and make their own laws, and that's what happened in Spain as well. They're like, and Spain, but the Spanish settlers in the New World, in like Peru or all these countries, they're like, we don't want to pay taxes to the King and Queen of Spain anymore. They're not over here. Let's just make our own laws and we can make as much money as we can. That's essentially it. And when those people get the foot soldiers and the working class to do the dirty work because they brainwash them into thinking it's in their best interests, and then you just have a new person. So I don't know. I'm not as maybe not the best person to ask. I'm super pessimistic though, and I'm super cynical. So I think humans are awful because we're not even like animals. Animals don't really have morality, do they? Like animals just kill to stay alive and stuff. And humans are like that, but they just take it to another level. Humans, how smart they are, they're just super cruel and awful. It's not even about just that's why capitalism is so much worse. And you wouldn't have animal capitalism because animals just hunt and kill to survive. Humans, actually, the people at the top just will never have enough. They just need to keep going, and that's the thing with the rainforest. And it's just capitalism working. It's like they need to keep making as much money as possible, and they're never going to stop. Essentially, until the world's destroyed. And films like Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049, the whole Earth doesn't have any nature in it anymore. No trees, no grass, because they literally destroyed the whole planet to make as much money as possible. And although that might be a bit far off, it's the sort of ideology that we were dealing with. But like I'm saying, the control is so strong. How do you fight that when they've convinced millions of people that that's the best way? You get so many people defending capitalism and not think it's a capitalism issue. The problem with climate change is the economic system is never going to be satisfied, and that's what the economic system is that we're living in. There's always people who are just gonna keep going, and they're never going to be satisfied with all the money. It's like why we say there shouldn't be billionaires, because how much money do you need? You just need to sit on all that wealth and never spend it. And how rich can you get? There comes a point, like people like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, they can't even spend all their money, and they will never be able to spend it because it's just so much. And that goes on top of a lot of them not paying any tax as well, and they're being so greedy, they're just hiding all their money offshore. America is a giant mountain of trash, and not just white trash. Sorry, let's catch up. Did you see that video someone made, the wall behind the Ellen clip? I've never seen some of those torture photos. Looking into it was enlightened. I knew, but I didn't see it. I'm glad though. Yeah, that was great, wasn't it? The Abu Ghraib photo of the man standing there with the thing on his head and tied up. Yeah, that's great. Like, and her company were taking it down whenever people posted it. It's such a bad, that Ellen stuff. It's such a wrong take, and being such a it just shows you how insanely privileged she is, because you don't even have to be like that smart to realize how bad it looks to be friends with George Bush. And what people were saying is she could have had a way better answer, but the way she doubled down made it so much worse by saying, I can be friends, equating being friends with someone who's a war criminal to being friends with someone who wears fur clothes. There's only one race there's only one race responsible for destroying the English language, and that's the English. I guess that's true. If you ever read Old English, it's literally impossible to read. Like from 900 AD, we had to read it in history. It's impossible to read. Chris is saying, if we held every American president over the last 5 decades to the same Nuremberg standards, then we have the Nazis, all of them be in prison for war crimes. Yeah, exactly. First time I read about Abu Ghraib, I almost threw up. Yeah, Abu Ghraib. Has anyone watched that film about Abu Ghraib where they interview the guards in it? It's so messed up. Gup saying, my health insurance deductible was only $8,000. What a deal. Yeah, it's actually mental. And, we're talking about white working class and how they're not all Trump supporters, but the ones who are Trump supporters, how? He's just trying to gut the only healthcare that you have anyway. Never take Brant too seriously. Okay, fair enough. Can't wait to not be able to afford my antidepressants. Going to be a blast. Yeah, there's just stuff like that, and I feel so sorry for people like you and people in this chat who live in America, because as bad as the UK can be and stuff, like I just, I've been talking the last couple of weeks about my migraine. Like I went to the doctors and they gave me a checkup. Then I went to the opticians, and they gave me a really long like eye test, eye checkup, and all these different things, eye health, and then it was all paid for by my doctors because it's linked together. So I got it all for free, and you know, thankfully, or still hopefully, I don't have anything seriously wrong with me, but it's nothing, you know, it's not a big deal. Let's just go there. I can book it online and ring up and get it within, you know, 5 days. I go there, it's free. They tell me I'm fine, whatever. But imagine if I had something seriously wrong with me, but then I'm too scared to go because I don't want to find out I actually do have a serious medical problem and I'm going to have to pay thousands and thousands of pounds that I just don't have. And that's why I fucking hate the Tories and how much they're jumping in bed with the Trump administration, because it scares me. I think the best way to start like a revolution in this country is literally try and privatise the NHS, because while a lot of people criticise it, I don't think British people are yet that stupid that they think that will benefit them in some way. So Curious Wonder saying Darius the First claimed he was Aryan himself. What do you think about that, Cav? Is Darius Artaxerxes' son? So there's Xerxes, Artaxerxes, and Darius, or is Darius the first one, like before all of them? Yeah, I guess that's where it's from, isn't it? Aryan, and a lot of them, I guess. You know, like I was saying, the Germans. I don't know when Europeans started using that word for white people, but I'd be interested. But yeah, obviously it comes from, like I was saying, Semite used to mean Arabs as well. So yeah, I like this, Samir. The American Revolution was a counter-revolution, revolution by the rich landed gentry for the rich landed gentry. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. I like that. Red Leader saying, when people like Pedro II actually remove the crown from their head for the people, the rich end up reinstating slavery, exiling him, removing democracy. Who's Pedro II? I'm looking this up. Pedro of Brazil. Oh, okay. The last monarch of Brazil. Interesting. So yeah, Brazil didn't get rid of slavery till like 1900, I swear. So is that what happened after he was gone? Humans are not smart, that's the problem, yeah. Some animals have problems, have you not heard of have morals, have you not heard of Care Bears? Well, like, obviously when you see a lot of animals sometimes, they do nice things and you think they have morals, but, you know, wild animals will always do what's best for them. So, sorry, just catching up. Humanity is depraved, says Kenji. Blood for blood, God's skulls for the skull throne. What the fuck? Red Leader saying, while Bolivar led to a lot of infighting, he did learn that revolution could not work without the slaves freed and the natives as part of the cause. Did Napoleon free the slaves as well? Ryan saying the biggest mistake white Europeans made was escaping the tyranny of the British monarchy and doing the exact same thing across the planet, turning people into second-class citizens in his own border. I was arguing with someone on my YouTube comments a couple of days ago. He was telling me that America is not imperialist and it never has been imperialist because it fought the British Empire. And I said to him, all right, I was like, did America exist with like all its territory? Did they all join the revolution? He's like, no. And I was like, so please tell me how Hawaii and Puerto Rico became part of America. And he's like, oh yeah, that was imperialism, but then they became part of the US, so it wasn't. It was like so stupid. I was like, well, what about the Philippines? Like, that's literally nowhere near America, and they governed that after they took it away from Spain. He was like, oh yeah, that's different, that's different. It's exactly, America has always been imperialist, and there's nowhere in the documents that say it's like anti-imperialist. I know people like FDR were anti-imperialist to an extent. Obviously, they're not anti-imperialist enough to be giving back all this territory to the native people, whether that's, you know, Hawaii or other territories the US took. But yeah, it's crazy people think America's anti-imperialist. It literally is one of the biggest empires that's ever existed. Just because it doesn't literally occupy every single country, it doesn't have to anymore, because that's the strength of its hold on the global economy. And because it's a globalized economy as well, you don't need to start having military bases everywhere, which they do anyway. They have loads of military bases all over the planet, but they don't need to hold, you know, have all the people under their boot militarily, but they do have most of these countries under their boot in terms of the economy. For the destruction of the fascist American police state. Yes, I agree. Christy saying the biggest obstacle to a sustainable environment is capitalism itself. Propaganda is one of the biggest problems. Socialist propaganda is everywhere, and it'll be until we win or do. But the thing with socialist propaganda a lot of the time, and if you can call it that, is at least it's not just lying. Capitalism is just, it's feeding you something to keep the rich rich and keep the people at the top secure. The English language failed, that's all. I'll certainly invite you, Capital. Future commune apparently will start a well-regulated militia. I can be the militia too. We should all... That's what people should use in the Second Amendment for, make more socialist militias. The English language is being ruined by Americans. Metal Gear Solid 5 actually has super interesting politics about the English language, because it's got this Native American guy, and it's got this guy from Hungary is the bad guy, and they're talking about how the British Empire spreading everywhere, and then America taking its place, has destroyed local language and culture everywhere. For example, in Ireland, obviously, like, you sort of speak Gaelic, and the British tried to get rid of it, although it's coming back. It's super interesting for a video game to talk about that. That's why I always find it funny when how awful gamers are in terms of being super right wing, and then they love Metal Gear Solid, which is one of the most socialist video games I've ever played. Literally, I've said this before. The character you play as and his best buddy talk about how much they love Che Guevara, and you literally fight with the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, who are socialist, against the CIA. That is the game. Which, and the series is super anti-war anyway, and anti-nuclear weapons. Super good though. I need to make a video on it. Your boy looking like Morpheus with those glasses. Free your minds, people. Morpheus. I honestly don't think I look like fucking the Matrix. I know everyone has said that. I thought I looked like Matt Murdock from Netflix Daredevil. Until he's saying he abolished his own monarchy, became president, abolished slavery, and then the autocrats ousted him and his daughter and re-enslaved the nation. Oh, okay. Brazil was that close to being progressive. That's super interesting. I need to read more about that part of the world during that time. I think Europe in the mid 1800s, like really specifically, like not broadly, and South America since the 1800s are two massive gaps in my knowledge. I think. I think the history of like post Communist Manifesto and its influence, you know, all the revolutions that happened in Europe following Marx's work, that is some area of my knowledge is really bad. Also 1990s, like the breakup of Yugoslavia is another one. I need to make that better. I need to, obviously I can't know everything, but I feel like I'm pretty well rounded in my knowledge, and I think those are three massive gaps. So Americans are becoming natural sociopaths. Weren't they always sociopaths? Genociding the natives. Napoleon did not like the trade, but he reinstalled slavery in 1802. Oh, okay, interesting. I know he abolished it. I didn't know he reinstated it. America was the last first world country to end slavery. Yeah, I guess the other ones aren't technically what you'd call first world. Gup saying American imperialism has been made plausible and attractive in part on its insistence that it's not imperialistic. Harold Innes. That's a good quote, actually. It's pretty amazing. It's just the brainwashing again. And this is why the world's so depressing. I was out with my friends on Friday, and one of them was saying I should stop talking because I'm just too depressing, because I'm so cynical. Because we were talking about like the job interview process, and one of my friends doesn't agree with me. I was like, yeah, it's shit. I'm literally begging a corporation to exploit me, and I'm going up against other people, and I'm begging them, please choose me, please exploit me and not him. And they were like, let's stop talking about this way because it's just too depressing. because I was talking the truth, but it's true. Yeah, Brian, I made a video about how democracy doesn't produce the best results, and I talked about this last week. One of the founding fathers, wrote such a good book about it. Let's try and find it. Founding Fathers, Cleon. Shit, I don't remember who it was though. But basically, he said Athens, way back in the day, 400 BCE, showed that democracy doesn't work because it just gives in to the rule of the mob all the time. So you have someone like Pericles getting kicked out of power and someone like Cleon coming into power, despite Pericles being the better choice because the mob want what the mob want. And yeah, it's true. But what's the alternative is the problem, because some people say like, oh, like Singapore, like authoritarian rule, which people are moderately happy with because it tries to look out for the interests of the people. It's an interesting one, definitely. It's the same with free speech and democracy. I don't think it's like the end all be all. Like, we must protect in terms of like here's the problem. It's because in capitalism you can't have a democracy because the interests of the corporations are always going to seep into the discourse. So a lot of these politicians, especially in America, it's completely bought by the corporations. So, and like we were talking about, was it Sinclair Broadcasting, all these different things together means these people, you can't have democracy as it's envisioned. You can't have candidate X, Y, and Z on a debate stage and they debate about the best way to do stuff, and then you're just like, oh, this guy, he seems like the best candidate, I'm going to pick that. And then everyone does that and we should have the best results. That just doesn't exist because you have all this brainwashing. So while I'm pro-democracy in theory and everything, and I guess in practice, because what other option is there that, you know, doesn't lead to authoritarian rule and stuff, at the same time I'm super jaded with it. I don't think it actually works. I just got a Ben fucking Shapiro ad on your channel. What the hell? I don't know if you can control what ads are run. I think you can. I need to look into it a bit more. So I'm gonna try and catch up. Hi all, having fun. Hey John, thanks for joining. So Duke saying democracy gives power to the people, the alternative is authoritarianism. Yeah, no, I do agree with that, but the people don't have power when most of the people are controlled by the powerful anyway. I feel like you'll never get a straight story of Yugoslavia. Yeah, it is complicated, isn't it? But I think I just need to learn more about it anyway. The majority of Americans are pathetic bootlickers. I'd say the majority in terms of even the liberal people do like love police and the military and stuff. So I agree with you in that sense. Obviously, I don't agree with you to the extent. I don't think they're all the same. Like Trump supporters versus, I don't know, a Trump supporter versus a Hillary Clinton supporter isn't necessarily the same. Mob rule sounds like something the ruling class would say. Yeah, but Duke of Bread, I'm thinking in terms of this Brexit stuff at the moment. It is mob rule, and even with Trump, because the thing with Trump is, okay, he didn't get a majority, whatever, but it's yeah, I guess it's a better argument against Trump. It isn't mob rule, but in terms of stuff like Brexit, it definitely is mob rule, and it's just infuriating because it's literally crazy to me that we could be heading for a no-deal Brexit and millions of people in this country want it to happen and it's going to be such a disaster, but they just want what they want, the stupid mob. But it ties into everything, doesn't it? It's like I'm saying, how far does it go that I say to people that they don't have personal accountability because they're too stupid to know and they've been brainwashed their whole lives. So yeah, it's annoying. So Anthony says, Philosophy Tube has an amazing video on democracy and its problems, but the trouble with fixing it, I find Marx is the best idea. Proletarian rule with the rich not allowed to vote. Yeah, the dictatorship of the proletariat. Or as Mao said, he will be dictator of the proletariat. I think me and someone were having a debate on Twitter about the meaning of that. Left is love, left is best. Hey Pernician, thanks for joining. Nate Dogg says, I don't believe the Ben Shapiro show is the largest, fastest growing conservative podcast on the internet anymore. Okay, why not? Is it not anymore? I don't really keep up with him enough. But a pathetic working class is one that can't even admit its flaws. Yeah, I agree. But there's loads of a lot of the working class are never going to admit their flaws. But I think that's just human nature. Most people don't admit they're wrong ever. Then that's the biggest problem. John saying the USA was never a democracy and probably never will be. Limiting the vote to white male landowners is not democracy. Make yeah, exactly. Same with Britain. And you just got to reform it, but then still, I think it's just so broken at the moment. Oh shit. So it's mob rule if it's something you don't like. It's mob rule, in my opinion, if there is something that is objectively bad and it will be bad for the mob as well, but they still want it to happen. I'm not talking about like majority really and objectively gonna be bad, and it's not a debate, but the mob still want it. That's what the mob rule problem is, and the rest of us just watching as half the country support this crap. So Christy's saying, I used to believe there was an invisible man in the sky. I used to believe America was helping to spread democracy and freedom across the planet. I was raised by conservative parents in a Christian household. I had to learn on my own and claw my way out of indoctrination to check sources and fact check those sources. Yeah, and Christie's like, I think Kennedy, you have a similar upbringing, but it's obviously you two would be the minority in terms of breaking out of the programming and brainwashing and really challenging all these beliefs you've been fed your whole life. But most people in the world never do, and that's the massive problem. It's just like a cycle. Yeah, Duke, no, I agree. I was sort of saying, like, you can't have a democracy of capitalism because with the interests of the ruling class and the power they have, you can't have a fair debate about anything. Philosophy Choose video was on Brexit. He made a good point that the voters who are a large chunk of the population, children, people from other countries living there, and prisoners. Yeah, I think we like 70-something% voted. So obviously we have. It's not it's not everyone. Maybe if you had to make it the law to vote. Yeah, but Christy, it's such a long process, isn't it? So you're trying to add a bit of skepticism to them and adding critical thinking, but it's just so hard to get them out, and it's just such a massive task to really make it spread across the country. Redley, I think you mean Scotland and Northern Ireland are caught up in something they didn't want. Wales definitely did want Brexit. They're like pretty much by region universally voted for it. It's difficult to free falls from the chains they revere. Voltaire, that's a good quote as well. Like religion, for example. White Americans are going to become a minority in their own country soon. And they had nothing but mob rule for... Do you mean like white mob rule? America is owned by white people. You're telling me Jesus did write the Declaration of Independence? It's kind of close to what Mormons believe, isn't it? That Jesus was American or something. Or they went to America. No, he wasn't American, but there's like early Christians, he went over to America or some crap like that. Mob rule is a fiction. Show me an example of a mob rule. Mob without a leader. Yeah, I guess that's true. It's always pathetic when talks of civility are coming from white leftists. Anyway, black people... white leftists, did they call for civility a lot? I don't think they do. If you mean like white liberals, I agree. Black people didn't gain civil rights until MLK died. Well, they had the Civil Rights Act before, didn't they? But I'd argue a lot of them still don't have civil rights. 13th Amendment, schools prison pipeline, war on drugs, and all that crap. So Anthony's saying that he covered mandatory voting as well. I don't like the idea because it inherently demands people vote, even if it's good. That should not be enforced, particularly given protest non-votes. Yeah, okay. But do you think you should have to opt out of voting? Like you have to say, or you have to like when the voting comes around, you just write, like I guess you go to the ballot and you say I'm not voting, like no vote or something. Is that some way you'd get around it? Why do you hate not being a mod? What's being said? I don't see any people saying bad crap in the chat. Oh, that's interesting, show. I didn't know that. They showed a KKK chapter in Birmingham. Yeah, the 60s, I can imagine, because it's just not after Windrush, but a lot more Africans and people from the Caribbean and India coming to the UK. I think voting should be mandatory and we should get the day off. Even fire and emergency services, it's the only day people can purge. change voting day to purge day. White people gave Native Americans civil rights and demanded a Nobel Peace Prize. MLK was killed because he was finally coalescing the labor movement with civil rights. He was killed helping organise workers' strike. Yeah, it's crazy how in Martin Luther King's last speech, he kind of thinks he's going to die. So mental. But yeah, but that's what I made the video on, isn't it? It's like Martin Luther King was an anti-capitalist. And the problem is how he's been sanitized. So basically, the only thing you think of when you think of Martin Luther King, the average person, is like, he said racism was bad and he fought for civil rights just to get black people the same rights as everyone else. And that's not what his thing was. It's that capitalism literally created the situation where black people don't have civil rights. We need to reform the whole system. Sweden does that with you having to go but not having to vote, though I would argue the mere telling people they have to show up puts pressure. The percentage of people not giving a fuck is telling. Yeah, exactly. But I don't think it's a bad system, because then everyone actually has to give their say. I don't know. Kennedy, I think he's joking. I think he was saying, Brian was saying, America's been ruled by the white mob for so long, and now the minority's going to have a bigger say. I think that's what you meant. Brian, you can clarify. But I thought, when he said imagine being a minority and voting in America, I thought he meant your interests are not going to be valued because it's dictated by the white people. I don't think he was being out of order. Brian, explain yourself. So Chrissy's saying, you're right, many people never do, but I think talking to conservatives like they are people and explain policies to them actually help spread a few people instead of alienate. But I don't know if you find this. Do you ever find you have a perfectly normal conversation with someone who has different political beliefs and you think you've changed their mind, and then they literally just vote the same way anyway, or even though you think you've changed their mind, they just do the exact same shit they've always been doing. That's what I find a lot of the time. Capitalism or equality can't have both, not the way we practice unfettered capitalism in the West. Yeah, I agree. All right, Brian, respond to Kennedy. We need to have the grudge match in the chat. Brian, what are your political beliefs? I think you're a good guy by what you've been saying. But I think I think maybe you're a good guy, but I think you might just be trolling a bit. The chat is turned on Brian. Brian, explain yourself. This is a democracy. I want the grudge match in the chat. Curious Wanderer saying, Cav, do you think the Western governments overestimate the role of terrorism globally? And if so, do you think their counter-terrorist methods tend to be lacking and inadequate? Overestimate... I think they like using terrorism to scare people and doing what they want. Of course they do. It's the whole war on terror, Bush administration, just scare everyone into giving away all your civil rights. Let's think about, in terms of Islamic terrorism, I think it's way overestimated. In terms of white supremacist terrorism, I think it's way underestimated, because in America especially, it's the biggest killer in terms of terrorism since basically 9/11. And I just think they use it to keep people scared, essentially. Inadequate, I don't know, because they obviously catch a lot of them, because all these terrorist attacks don't actually happen. So yeah, I don't know. I definitely think they fearmonger way more about terrorism, and it gives governments an excuse. Like the shit they used to blame on the IRA. Literally do any political assassination you want, the government, and just blame it on the IRA afterwards. That's literally what they used to do. I'd imagine they might have done similar things with Islamic terrorism as well. Here's a question. Should the US have a president? What would the alternative be? Just Congress do all the laws and no president. I didn't know liberals were on the chat. Brian, are you a tanky? Brian, what do you think of China? But even in the Bible, isn't crucify him a democratic decision by the Jews and the crown? They want Barabbas, they don't want Jesus. Crucify him, crucify him. Hi Olivia, thanks for joining. Oh yeah, everyone who wasn't here earlier, name this movie quote. We'll take the lot. We'll take the fucking lot. Everyone who didn't answer before, don't answer again. We'll take the lot. I'll give you a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna show you what it's from. Oh man, do any of you like have these really stupid quotes that you say with your family from old movies? So here's one I like. I always say with my friend, it's like, Aslan's not a tame lion, but he is good. And it's from the end of the first Narnia film, and it's like, it's not a tame lion, but he is good. I like it. What's the question? Harry Potter. Oh, Olivia got it. Olivia got it. Dude, are you stoned tonight? No, I'm just finding myself hilarious as usual. Alright, everyone, get ready. I'm going to show you the clip of Harry Potter. We'll take the lot. Alright, my cover's on, so it's not great, but...
We take the fucking law, mate. We're gonna get fucking wasted on fucking Douglas or whatever the fuck they're called, mate. Oh, fucking got a lot of cash from my mum and dad, didn't it? Chocolate fruit, mate. Oh, look at that. I missed you. I got fucking Douglas.
We'll take the lot. Alright, that wasn't the real one, as you can probably tell. It was a dubbed one, but still. We'll take the fucking lot. Well, you're hilarious. Thanks, Eric. I do find myself pretty funny. I probably my sense of humour probably doesn't come across in my videos much, apart from when I just have "Mum, I want to vape" at the start of every video, or the stupid Joker Trump one. That was so funny. Well, did I put that in front of my Ellen video? I think I cracked up when I first watched that. In the first Saw movie, someone yells "you bastard fuck," and every time I see my friends in high school, we say, "Yeah." I have so many things like that. So funny. Sorry, I'll get back to politics. So people talking about the kings. China isn't socialist or communist. There you go. Brian is a good guy. Brian will take the lot. That's what Karl Marx says when he sees the means of production. What are we talking about? We're talking about the presidents. Why is there a president in the first place? And Tilly's saying, I like presidents, but I do wonder sometimes if we run into the problem of the fight for the White House becoming all that matters. The president has too much. I think Trump shows the president can have way too much power. Sorry, some other stupid video came up. There's apparently anything from the trolley will take the lot. It's like some fucking meme shit now. So I'm gonna watch that later. That's what I'll be doing the rest of my evening. We'll take the lot. The chat is full of liberals and pathetic white babies. Come on, Brian. The chat isn't full of liberals. We don't have many liberals here. So 2 years on from arguably the most racist election campaign in British history, people continue to shun their new black Asian neighbours. There was race riots in the 90s in England. Like, racism's been shit here for ages. I think a lot of British people delude themselves, thinking it's a lot better than it is. I have no problem saying the British government's institutionally racist, and the police, but a lot of people would be. So what else are we talking about? Anyone. So I'm going to be on 7k subs soon, hopefully. What should I do for my 7k sub special, whatever? I think I'm going to make a video this time. I did live streams for 5k and I did live stream for 6k. I'll do live stream as well. But I want to do something else. I'm not sure yet. It's annoying, actually. I've seen so many people like you grow so big. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, why is it taking so long for me? That Gaitan guy literally started his channel like a year ago. And he only started posting like a couple months ago. And he's on like 12k. Because he got loads of shout outs. Well, okay, his videos are fine as well. And then that bad empanada, whatever that guy's called. I follow him on Twitter. He's on like 10k now. And he was behind me for months. But because he got shouted out a lot on Twitch and things by other people, and then his Che Guevara video blew up, which is fair enough, and now he's on 10k. And then another guy called Curio, he followed me the other day and he had 9k subs and now he has 17k. His video and something about, it's like Dave Rubin, Jordan Peterson or some shit like that. So it's annoying. So it's annoying how slow it's been for me. It's been such a grind. I actually got 500 subs this last month, to be honest, so most of it has come in the last month, thanks to that PewDiePie shit. But it's just fucking, it's just been so slow. Like, I'm obviously grateful because I only had 4,300 in March. So, you know, not nearly doubled my size, but it's a significant chunk of new subscribers, which I appreciate. And obviously, I can't complain too much because I'm pretty sure everyone in this chat has subscribed to me since March, which is good because it shows, like, I finally actually reached the audience I wanted all the time. But at the end of the day, I want to get 10k so bad. I don't know why, just the number. So, Brian just loves attacking everyone in the chat. 7k, cease means production. I don't think that's good enough for that. 7k, do a choreographed dance tribute to your own channel. Yeah, like remix the videos and do a dance. For 7k, come on my podcast and give me clout. Yeah, I'm up for coming to your podcast, Kenny. I don't think 7k is enough for actual clout. Because it's like when people say, oh, do this for me and I'll promote you on my social media. And it's like, well, you only have so much. And there's only so many people. Like, I'd say the live stream's a good indicator of how many people I could actually influence rather than actually 7,000 people. So Stacey says it's because the left doesn't shout each other out and work cooperatively. I think a lot of people do. But it's funny, that Gaitan guy, he became big because he made a video calling out the other creators for not helping out smaller ones. But then there's like a new group of them who are all like buddies, and they're all helping each other out. Like, for example, the Surfs were doing this thing, which they invited me to, but then I saw the list. I was like, the initial list, because they said I could come on as well. And I was like, that's the new little group, that they're all mates of each other. I think even the people who say they want to help each other, I think a lot of them do like mix in with the bigger ones. So the bigger ones would be like, I don't know, Michael Brooks, Surfs, Hassan, a lot of, was it the H-Bomber guy, all those people. They're all like the little gang. Well, not the gang, but they're big enough and they talk to each other. To be honest, like, I'm happy enough with mine. But the thing with the shout outs and stuff, I wouldn't feel like I've earned the subscribers. I don't know, because I've never had a proper like shout out from a massive channel like, oh, everyone go subscribe to the Tabernacle, and I've seen like thousands come in. Literally every time I get a lot of subscribers, it's my own work and it's my own videos doing well rather than anyone shouting me out. Like, I've been on the Surf's Twitch stream, and I've been on Christie's show, and I've been on some other things as well, and it's helped enough. Like, I've got a couple, like 100 whatever, but it's good enough. But I've never been on like a massive channel and they've massively shouted me out and it's contributed to myself. So I am proud in a sense that I've done it all myself, but at the same time I would like some more. I want more, but I know I shouldn't. Who says that? No one's gonna get it. Anakin killed the younglings. Oh, that's disgusting. Kennedy had a video where someone put mayonnaise in baked beans. Baked beans are disgusting anyway. Get Viagra to grow faster. I'm not talking about that. White leftists are usually pathetic, but this is a great channel. Thanks, Brian C. I think you're getting confused with... Okay, I don't know. Maybe in your experience, white leftists are bad. But in my experience, white leftists are pretty good. It's white liberals that are the problem. Yeah, the right works together in secret groups. They'll send the whole group to each other to subscribe. Yeah, they always do that. I know that. So John's saying, I'm a 69-year-old white socialist atheist that carries a gun. Put me in a box. It's more clout than we have. Yeah, but I mean, like, I can make a video and get however amount of views and comments and stuff. But I mean, actually making someone do something is a lot harder. I haven't reached that tier yet. Yeah, I know I haven't. We have 1,000 plays on Spotify. Oh, nice. But it's almost nothing in real terms. Even something like mine isn't anything like specifically or, you know, amazing. I mean, it's good I have everyone in this chat and people watch my videos, but how much actual influence you have is like no one's saying... Like, you wouldn't say the Tabernacle to someone in conversation who is into this stuff, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, that guy. No one would know who I am, but you could say someone like, oh, that Hassan Parker, they're like, oh, yeah, the guy who works for Young Turks or has his Twitch stream and stuff. So I don't think I'll ever be on that level. You can just, like, reference me and people be like, oh, yeah, it's that guy. But, and I think that's like a tier. You need quite a lot, and you need... Sometimes you can have less subs but have a cultural impact. Like, for example, Hassan doesn't actually have that many YouTube subs, but obviously everyone knows who he is. Maybe because he actually is on a massive... he's the nephew of a guy who's actually really prominent on YouTube, but... Eric, not to be greedy... Well, how's this greedy? Not to be greedy, but would you come on a podcast back... If anyone has podcasts, here's what I'll say to you. I'll happily come on, but... the equipment, I would preferably use my phone or my iPad to come on it. That's the one thing I will say, because I don't have a great mic for the computer. So if anyone ever wants me to come on something, which I'm happy to do, it'd make it so much easier if I could just do it on my iPad or something, or I could just either hook these up and talk, or some sort of that where I can use the iPad's camera. So yeah, Eric and Kennedy, I'm perfectly happy to come on and everything. We're having the Surfs on soon. I tried to ask Michael during a live stream when he's coming on, but he ignored me. Although, wait, he did it about us. Did it about us once. Yeah, some people just who ghosted. Was it Christy? Was it you who got ghosted by that girl? Who was it? The atheist one who just was it you who did that? She just didn't show up or say why she didn't come on. People can be dicks about that stuff. Like, don't say yes if you're not gonna bother. Who's Michael? Is Michael the other Surfs? I know Lance is the one who does most of the Twitch streaming. Harry Potter. Oh, Michael Brooks said it. Oh, okay. He was coming on. That's cool though if you get him. And you're a mod for his stream, aren't you? So Kinsan, I forgot how I found you. Probably from Reddit BreadTube. Yeah. I always tweet about BreadTube being my city because in the last month I've been on the front page so much, but annoyingly it doesn't actually translate to many subscribers, even though the PewDiePie stuff was good. Like, I'll show you guys my tweet. When did I post it? That BreadTube was my city. Yeah, so let me spin it around. So yeah, look, this is my post from this month from BreadTube. So look, got 1,000 for that one, 2,000 for that one, 1,000 for that one, 2.5 for that one. So I've been doing well on the Reddit, but it doesn't translate to like anything massive, which is annoying. Because I'm getting all these lovely upvotes and it's not getting me a massive audience. So Brian's saying, when people like Sargon and Shapiro have 20,000 likes in a video calling people stupid, what hope do you have for the left surviving? I just think a lot of decent people who would agree with us don't actually go on the YouTubes and go on YouTube and go on Twitter and are super politics junkies and everything. I think there's a lot of decent people who don't binge all this stuff, and I think there's more horrible people online because you sometimes have to go there to find people like yourself. That's what my theory is anyway. And that's why I think gamer culture is so toxic, because all these horrible people, and especially when gamer culture used to be more for people who, you know, I guess were less, I guess the stereotype of a nerd used to be sort of more true, and then they all come together. It's like that's why I think the rise of the alt-right is really linked to social media, because all these awful people who are quite ostracised can all come together and find out loads of people do think like them, which is annoying. Cav, you should definitely be proud of your channel. The grind is real. Yeah, thanks, man. It is a massive grind. I'm proud of it in some ways, because sometimes I'm thinking, like, it's cool I have 7k subscribers, and then I have a certain amount of people who watch my videos and care about what I say and everything. But then sometimes I'm like, is it really that much? Like, I see some random channels with like loads of subs, and I'm like, they haven't put as much work into it. I don't know. Everyone does it differently. It's not great to compare yourself. Why do channels like Crowder have millions of views? It's so down depressing. It's just like an extension of American conservatism and everyone being fucking idiots. Cav, do you think that people in Western democracies overstate the role of international terrorism? Yeah, no, I've sort of answered this already. Yeah, I think it's overstated to keep people in line, isn't it? That's the Patriot Act and everything like that. All your civil liberties being infringed upon, stuff that Snowden exposed. And by the way, has anyone read Snowden's book? I've been thinking about reading it. It's people were happily giving up, because it's like, well, what do I have to hide? You can go through my emails and listen to me on the phone, because I've got nothing to hide. I'm not a terrorist. And if you're going to catch a terrorist, that's a worthwhile sacrifice. That's the mindset people started getting in. At the same time, I'm not going to act like white people haven't supported racism for a long time. Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong there. I think a lot of white people completely absolve their selves of any part in white supremacy, and a lot of criticism I get a lot is, you're a self-hating white, you hate yourself, you know, you didn't do slavery, so why are you saying all this stuff about it? Why are you acting like it? Because my whole point is, white people perpetrate the same the legacy of slavery. So even though I'm not, my race, which I think white race is a stupid term anyway, because it doesn't actually make any sense. Because, for example, if I'm Irish, I'm not actually the same race as someone who's English, but it's people not really apologizing for or what they've done and being benefiting from that history. Like myself, let's keep it real, like I've benefited all my life from white privilege, and then for me to turn around and act like there is an institutional racism still in England, which a lot of white liberals would say there is an institutional racism, and to say that the police isn't racist when it definitely is, I think that's a problem a lot of white liberals have. And white guilt, that's just bullshit. That's bullshit right-wingers say when you're just criticising their racism. But yeah, I get why you'd be sceptical of white people in general. And yeah, so Kennedy saying, we record bad practice on Discord so you could... Yeah, that's good then. Eric saying, I think we can definitely arrange it through iPad. Okay, nice. Eric, you have my email, so you can just email me if you want. And Kennedy, you have me on Twitter, so... I found you months ago, but okay. That's good. I'd say last 6 months, really, is where the new subscribers come from. Congratulations, Connor. Yay. Well, when I get 7k, you can say congratulations. Oh, okay. Eric knows Kennedy from the Michael Brooks show. I see a decent amount of people who write letters to big bread tubers because they don't have an account. Oh, that's nice. And I think, if you think about your... Okay, I can't say this to everyone, but if you think about your life and you think about... Especially in England, most of my friends who are decent people would not know any of these YouTubers I mentioned. They wouldn't have a clue, which is fine, because they'd never go and watch this stuff on YouTube. I know a lot of people are pretty political as well, and they vote and they have their opinions. They'd never go on YouTube. They'd never go on Reddit. They'll never engage with stuff on Twitter, really, either. And I think there's a lot more people like that than you'd expect. Before girls started playing games, is what I think is what he means. But just the general stereotype. Pelosi and Warren call themselves liberal. Yeah, liberals are just conservatives. What's your problem with Snowden's politics? I haven't really gone into it too much. I never watched the Oliver Stone film. That's because you're brilliant, Connor. Thank you, Christy. I wouldn't say that. You young Padawan learner. I'm the master. I'm not old enough to be the master yet. Nothing makes white leftists angrier than a marginalised person speaking truth. Yeah, I agree with you. Martin Luther King is a good example. But there's loads of people. It's like when AOC said, yeah, Ronald Reagan was a racist, and everyone was getting super butthurt. It's like, I wrote Reagan's biography. He is not a racist. And then, like, 3 months later, he's calling African people monkeys in the 70s. And it's like, yeah, he definitely was a racist. What is my opinion on reparations in the US? We had a really lengthy debate about this before. Obviously, like, I support it, but I'd like to research more about the ways it would be done. Like, what does it look like? Is it like funding for specific areas where the legacy of slavery is strongest? Is it like a personal amount of money to people who are descended from slaves, which most black people in America, obviously not all of them, but a lot of them. So yeah, I'd like to read more about how it'd be implemented, but yeah, as a concept, I support it. And especially when it's something like that, because people like to muddy the waters, and they're like, well, when do we stop handing out reparations? But there's a direct link with slavery and the oppression of African Americans today, and you can't say that about a lot of things. For example, you wouldn't give reparations to Irish people in America because there isn't a link with, well, there isn't Irish oppression today, so there's not a link between Irish discrimination in the 1860s and the welfare of Irish Americans today. Most of them are like fucking like 6th or 7th generation Irish anyway, so they're not even actually, well, I'm not saying they're not Irish, but they're not, have a close connection to Ireland anyway. So Curious Wanderer saying neo-Nazis claim that race mixing could lead to this disruption of intelligence and would spoil racial structures, particularly white. What do I think of interracial marriages and interracial dating? Yeah, it's totally, you know, obviously I'm totally okay with both of those things. It's obviously like junks, or what is it, junk science? Something, you know, the crap science Nazis believe. It's got nothing, you know, race mixing is not even a thing. And what's funny about Nazis as well, especially Nazis who aren't from like a race, I guess, that can tie their history back ages. For example, like I'm saying, I'm an Irish person. I don't know my complete family tree. I don't know where the fuck some of my family might have come from. And the concept of race is like a modern concept. So if an English person is there's no English race because there's so many different people who lived here and conquered. For example, before the Normans conquered, you have all these different races, and then before that you had the Gaelic people who were conquered by the Romans. So that's already mixing loads of different ethnicities together from across the world, and it's still happening today. Like the populations of this country, like big French population, big Polish population, big Irish population. That's all, and they're all different from traditional English people. So obviously it's bullshit that anything like that affects intelligence. Something like Stephen Molyneux starts talking about all the time, isn't he? Snowden has right-wing libertarian values. Okay, so he's like, that's his view of freedom, isn't it? The government shouldn't infringe them. The marijuana ban by Nixon was because of anti-Semitism. There's audio basically saying he wanted to punish a Jew psychiatrist. Oh, what the fuck? I never heard of that before. White leftists love an AOC called Reagan racist. I think... I think Brian... I don't know. I'm not going to speak about Brian's experience. I think anyone who calls himself a leftist is generally pretty good on race stuff. Although I don't trust anyone who calls himself a liberal. She never even replied. Yeah, that's really bad. Like, why even say you're going to do something if you're not even going to show up? Red Leader saying, I think if nothing else, reparations for natives is urgent as well, and the plan is more or less to give money to descendants of slaves. I want to see the Black Hills given back. My state has so much native history, and yet no tribe here currently. That alone is heartbreaking. We have so much space now, give the land back. So is the casino stuff, that's part of native reparations, is it? That's why loads of natives own casinos. Emperor Dank, what does Cavos think of Brexit? Well, he's against it. I don't think he gives much thought to it, though, Emperor Dank. Like this show, thanks, Lawrence. Snowden endorsed Bernie, though, right? If someone wants to answer that, I don't know that. Cav, why is everyone talking about Brian in the chat? No, Brian is just saying that white leftists are useless, and he's just saying some stuff that people make just skeptical of his intentions. But I think Brian's a decent guy. But was there some infight in the chat? So Brian says, white leftists in the chat proving nothing but their own ignorance as the usual. European, yeah. Brian, why do you say leftist, white leftist? Do you think white leftists are bad, not just white liberals? Do you think white leftists as well? Yeah, John, you're one of them. So John says, the fact that you have Patreon supporters who commit to a monthly payment with no expectations is a good measure of success. More would be better, but you're in a good place. Yeah, thanks for saying that, John. Yeah, and thanks for being a patron as well. Yeah, in terms of the Patreon stuff, I'm actually sitting on that money. I haven't actually taken out any of the money from my Patreon yet. I'm building it up until I can buy something good, but I don't know what I'm gonna buy. But I'm not saying I'm gonna buy something just for myself. I'm trying to think of something to buy to enhance my channel. But when my computer keeps overheating now, so it's been really annoying making videos because the program keeps stuttering when I'm editing, and then it won't render properly, and I have to turn off my computer for like 4 hours and turn it on, then render. So it's really fucking with what I can make, because I'm not planning anything elaborate, because I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to edit and render this properly. But yeah, I appreciate the Patreon stuff, and I get what you're saying. Like, people actually like me enough. And I've actually seen way bigger channels with smaller patrons, so... So until he said, I think the casinos have something to do with the tax thing. Could be wrong. Essentially, they're still stuck with an isolated, shitty land if we gave them the means to have full towns or sort of small cities. Yeah, it is so crap. And I've said before, America has never apologized for what it's done to African Americans and natives, and the fact that Donald Trump can say Andrew Jackson was his favorite president, and the Trail of Tears, they got awarded medals for that. It is the most fucked up, not the most fucked up thing, but it's one of the most fucked up things I've ever read. It's actually so disturbing, like cutting open pregnant women, and like it's just it's so awful. Like Vietnam War as well. Like America is so great at rehabilitating themselves. Vietnam is just the reason I bring it up so much is it's just so devastating when you read about it, and awful, and you can't believe. That's like My Lai massacre. The guy who ordered the My Lai massacre got like he was meant to get like 20 something years in prison. He got let out on 4 years. And most Americans supported the killing of the students at Kent State as well. It's absolutely mental. So Sammy is saying, I mean, one marijuana on the marijuana. Uh, their full marijuana legalization. Do you mean? Um, the Native Congress is great, but the United Voice is so small in this country. Yeah, and it's worse because the pipeline stuff that was going on as well, and it just shows the legacy has really not gone away. Oh, you're quoting Nixon. I was like, what the fuck are you saying? So Nixon said, legalize marijuana is Jewish. What the Christ is matter with the Jews, Bob? What is the matter with them? I suppose it's because most of them are psychiatrists. You know, there's so many. All the greatest psychiatrists are Jewish. By God, we're going to hit the marijuana thing, and I want to hit it right square in the puss. I want to find a way of putting more on it. That's crazy. Is that actually what Nixon said? Curious on a cab. I think Brian is trying to talk about the white privilege and how such privilege may allow white people who are liberal to take a comfortable stance to talk about racism. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Buy a hoverboard. Do you remember hoverboards were a thing? um, Brian says it's because black people were being lynched, white leftists did nothing. As the police cut 30% of the black population in half, white leftists did nothing. It's more of not trusting American leftists than anything. The liberals in this chat are so pathetic. Alright, I don't agree with your last point, but I understand the rest of it. So Brantley has 12 fans in your computer, it never overheats. Brantley, if I put a fan, just like if I direct the fan on the computer, does that help at all? I'm so bad at computer stuff, like, this is my first actual, like, desktop. Hi Jose, how's your week been? I'm here for a small bit, packing up the last bit of my apartment for the last year. Oh nice, where you moving to? Mr. Robot tonight, although I can't watch it because it doesn't come out until 8 in the morning in the UK, so I'm going to watch it tomorrow. We either click on Empire with less devotion to honour. No devotion to honour. It helps some. Okay, I'm going to try that out next time then. We're seeing natives leading the Ecuador revolution, which is hopeful. Yeah, there's a lot more natives in South America still, isn't there? I always have a fan point to my laptop. It helps decently. Okay, nice. Jay saying, I love the shade. The shades make you look like a motherfucking rock star. Thanks, man. I like these ones actually. I've never been a big fan of glasses, to be honest, until the last year. Yeah, appreciate you saying I look like a rock star. Other people saying I look like Morpheus. Or fucking what's his name? What's the guy in Matrix? He's the main guy. Played by Keanu Reeves. Who's the main guy in the Matrix? Mr. Anderson. Neo, there we go. How so, Kennedy? Did they reinvent Count Intel Pro? Take the side of your PC, then point the fan at it. Okay, nice. I'm gonna try this next time then. Hopefully it works. Wanderer saying, Brian, not all white liberals are the same as white American liberals. Race cannot define culture. Cav may be white and liberal, but he himself differs from many liberal Americans, right, Cav? Yeah, I wouldn't call myself liberal because I think the connotations of being liberal are being more centrist. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Still Miami, just about 15 minutes away. Oh, okay, nice. What do you think will happen in Ecuador? I don't really know enough about it, to be honest, Antilles, to give a definitive thing. I just like the police getting a beat down from the army. Brian saying, blacks weren't waiting for white people to get off their lazy pale asses and be nice. We were protesting on the streets daily for the right to even use a damn water fountain. Yeah, no, I get Brian's resentment. Because most of the country, you know, hated... Or most of the country would still hate Martin Luther King if they actually knew what he was about. Do you know what I mean? That's what I was saying in my video. He's so sanitized now, even a Republican can get behind him, and Ted Cruz can say, you know, let's remember Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King would hate Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz would absolutely hate Martin Luther King. So all Republicans would hate Martin Luther King today. Most of the Democrats would hate Martin Luther King today. So I get that. Neo. We're seeing Rahav. Yeah, the stuff with the Kurds is so bad. It's actually really depressing. And how long have we been? Okay, I'll wrap this up soonish. But the anti-war Tulsi left, their takes on this Kurdish stuff is such garbage. They're like, oh yeah, Trump's out of Syria, anti-war. You're not anti-war if, okay, for example, yeah, I get the underlying thing is America shouldn't be in foreign countries meddling in other people's affairs. But if you're there, you're working with a group who have died by the thousands killing ISIS and capturing them, and you're protecting them from the Turks, and then you leave and they just get slaughtered. I don't see how that's a victory for being anti-war, especially when I'm reading about how it's going to make the region even worse, because it's saying that some Kurds are thinking now, let's just release the ISIS fighters and let them do the damage on the Turks and the, you know, the Syrians, because who gives a shit now? What's the point? Because we're fucked, basically. So yeah, it's so fucking stupid. Like, there's enough. I hate the Tulsi left. I think she's such a bad candidate now, in my opinion. Just like how, I guess the best thing about a primary is you see people for who they really are, and it's clear. Not saying, I don't know if she said anything about this Kurdish stuff. I'm actually gonna have a check quick. She probably has, but I'm not actually talking about her specifically. I'm talking about the people who love her. Yeah, so she's saying similar things to me. Yeah, so Tulsi is actually saying the same thing to me, but I mean, like, her supporters, I don't know if you've seen their takes on this stuff. That's what I'm talking about mainly. Sorry. Jay saying the left-wing intellectual light web is made up of Jimmy Dore, Kim Everson, Nico House, Tim Black, and Jamal. I haven't heard of those last two, but yeah, it is kind of like funny. It's crazy how popular they are as well. And I think Mac was saying, I think he's here now, but he was saying Kim Everson's like geopolitics for Facebook mums. I think that's a good summary. Jimmy Dore, I don't really know. It's like a lot of the stuff they say just really borders on just conspiracy theories all the time, and I don't think they really research the people they quote and bring on a lot of the time. Because I'm saying Jimmy Dore brought the founder of the Syria Solidarity Movement on his channel, saying she was an independent journalist, when she literally founded this like pro-Assad lobby group. It's like Wanderer saying Brian's resentment is built upon generalization and emotionality. What you must understand is you cannot define all white liberals as pretenders, and people who don't care, it's invalid. Yeah, I agree with you. I get the resentment, but obviously not. I don't really like saying not all white people, but it is true, especially leftists. I think reverse reverse racism isn't real. Yeah, this is something I was thinking about the other day. Like, I'm not saying you can't be in like a personal level. You can't be racist to an individual, but people always be skeptical, super skeptical of any white person from a majority white country saying that all races can be racist. Because, for example, I was talking to someone and I said, if a bunch of black people in the UK went up to me and said, you're a cracker or whatever, you're white trash, like, I literally just be like, okay, what the hell? And I wouldn't be offended because I'm like, whatever, I don't give a shit. But if I go up to, if me and a bunch of my friends who are white, for example, my white friends, not all my friends are white, but my white friends, and we call someone the N-word, that is 100 times worse because we're essentially saying, obviously that the history of that word, for example, is to make black people seem like animals and make them seem subhuman. But then it's like reminding them, like, we have this system that benefits white people and is discriminatory against black people. That's why it's worse, because I've got the force of institutional racism behind my words, whereas a group of non-white people calling me white trash or a cracker, they don't have that, because I have never had a disadvantage in my life from being white, for example. There's obviously many disadvantages to being a person who is non-white. So that's the dumbest shit. Like, yeah, you can be technically racist for saying some shit to someone about their race. Like, you can be technically racist to me by saying, yeah, you're white garbage. But at the same time, it's not the same thing. I don't think it's actual racism. The Kurds signed a thing with Assad's army now to fight the Turks. Read it today. Oh, that's crazy, because they hate Assad as well. They're as bad as the USSR was. I wish there was still a major leftist government. Did someone say something about China? Oh, damn, that's annoying, Sarah. I have notifications on, yet YouTube decided to wait 2 hours before notifying me of the stream. That's annoying. Yeah, YouTube's been really annoying lately in terms of my last videos about basically getting no views. John saying, overheating desktop computer, pretty easy fix. No geek out and twist a screwdriver for you. Yeah, I think I find someone who can help me with it. I literally don't care if he says something shitty about white people. I talk shit about men all the time. I say that to my girlfriend as well. She says, like, men are trash, and I was like, I literally agree with you. Men are fucking garbage. And I can say that as a man because I want men to be better than they are. They're awful. And obviously it's a similar thing in terms of it's institutional sexism, isn't it? Like, me discriminating against women comes from a place of historical sexism and sexism that still exists. A woman saying men are trash, like, I've never had any downside to me being a man in my life. Do you know what I mean? Because I have white privilege and I have male privilege, so it's completely different. Yeah, Antonio's saying it's about social power, not just hate or disdain. Yeah, that's what I feel. Christy's saying, to have the most healthy democracy, a nation needs more political parties. Socialist Party, Liberal Party, Communist Party, Republican Party. Yeah, it's better to have more parties, but the American oligarchy is ensured it's just two. So it doesn't matter who's in power, it just benefits them all the time. Hillary Clinton will enter the race. What do we think about that? Let's be the last topic. What do you think about Hillary Clinton? What do you think would happen if she joined the race? Who's it the worst for? Is it the worst for Joe Biden? Or is it the worst for Elizabeth Warren? I don't think it really matters for Bernie. What do people think? I'm proud white trash. Dave Rubin. Who's Dave Rubin? Yeah, but curious wonder, in Israel, Palestinians can't vote, can they? And aren't Palestinians technically a part of Israel in Israel's view because they don't think Palestine exists? So the Palestinians are part of Israel, but they can't vote. Yeah, Jay's saying that. you have to have political power as well. The left are the real bigots. Okay, Brian, you're a troll. Now I feel you've revealed yourself. General public, hi. Oh, that's annoying, Eric. You get the late notifications for live streams. It's hateful and shows centuries of privilege. Yep. Plus, when we call ourselves trash, it's a critique of the performance of masculinity as exists, not the sex of the male. Yeah. Yeah, no, Lawrence, we were talking about that earlier and how good it was. But yeah, it's an amazing video. If you haven't watched the Ellen video with the Iraq War stuff behind it, Curious Wanderer, you may as well say the first part of the comment to know how to copy and paste because Christian Santiago makes great points. Yeah, Christy does make good points. I enjoyed the show on, if you're still here, Christy, on Friday. If Clinton tries to run, I would die from laughter. Nobody would support Clinton except Biden. Yeah, if you join, Biden crashes out. If Hillary runs, I'm moving to Ireland, the best country in Europe. Yay. Super expensive though Ireland is. So, Hillary entering the race takes support from Warren and Biden and solidifies Bernie's support. Yeah. I think that as well. Worse for Biden, I could see her stamping on his back and shoving the stilettos into his spine. I think Brian is the rational voice. Chol, that is such a good take. I completely forgotten about that guy. Wait, let me see how he's doing. I bet he's got an annoying amount of subs to how crap his trolling is. Can we also get some original in leftist names? Can we get some originality? I just typed in the rational voice, and then someone called the rational leftist came up. Oh, the rational leftist is the rational voice. Oh, he nearly has 2,000 subscribers now. What the fuck? But his views are kind of shit. Look, they're like up and down. We hate this cunt. Alright. If Hillary runs, I would turn into a lesbian and a man. And I'm a man. It would actually be crazy if she runs. The boys are back. Hi, E-Star. It's been a long time. I haven't heard from you in years. Chris is saying if Hillary Clinton joins the race, that means the DNC lost every bit of respect and accountability and responsibility, and I will no longer be a card carrying Dem. Yeah, it'd be crazy if she's allowed back in as well. I guess that anyone is, but if she does run, Trump will have a field day because she'll run the same entire campaign. Yep. 2,000. Yeah, too many. I love being right about everything. Yeah, alright, I agree with you. But to be honest, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt because I don't want to minimize like black voices. If they're saying they have a problem with white leftists and stuff, I'm not gonna say you should love white leftists. I did consistently say that like it's the wrong framing because leftists generally are pretty good on race stuff. But again, I can understand why black people wouldn't like white people in general. So I didn't want to completely minimise that. Yeah, but it does sound like he's the rational leftist as he's reformed himself. I put him on timeout. Everyone donate to Tulsi. I don't like her, but the ability to destroy other candidates on stage. No, don't donate to Tulsi. She supports Hindu fascism, so... Also, I've got loads of Indian people coming to that video now telling me how wrong I am, but it's kind of funny. Not obviously, the English is not their first language, so the English is really broken, so it makes a lot of the things they accuse me of being quite funny. Yeah, well, he was being anti-white, but he was... No, I think he was saying that he wants white people to come in a minority, so black people have like more of a say or some shit like that, or like non-white people will. Yeah, okay, I was wrong. I'm sorry, everyone. We'll take the lot. Come on, guys, we'll take the lot. So, I enjoyed you being with us on Friday. Chat is always a bit smarter and better with your presence. Yeah, thank you. It was a good one. Who was I arguing with in your chat? Not too many. I was just listening. Christy, it's kind of hard because you know how much I like talking. Sometimes I just want to jump in and be like, this is because sometimes you guys are like, oh, I didn't like when you don't know something. I think you're talking about Kashmir or something. I always jump in and be like, it's this. But obviously, like, it's your show. I'm messing. But I can talk. This is why I do this. I talk for fucking hours. It's already been 2 hours. Goodman did something months ago, making noise about Hillary running, although he did trash his own reputation at one point. So it's been a long time. Hugh Star, what have I been up to? Honestly, since I haven't seen you comment in ages, loads. What have I been up to? Since I last tournament of you, my channel's been doing a lot better. Mainly just doing politics now. Finished my masters, doing some shitty side jobs, looking for a full-time job. That's pretty much it. What have you been doing? Do you still watch Cabos? The mob one, yeah. Also, Yang might run too. What do you mean? I love democracy, says Emperor Palpatine. I wonder if Bernie will go third party if the DNC screws him again. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. I wish he would, but because of Trump, he won't. I wonder if he would if it wasn't Trump. I'm still skeptical because it's still but blame him, wouldn't they? Anything from the trolley? We'll take the lot. Anything from the trolley? Wait, what? What's that one? He's not a tame. He's not a tame lion. Imagine Hillary and Biden both being on stage again. I know they were in 2008. It'd be so crap. He's not a tame lion, but he is good. Alright, sorry. So no one thinks Bernie will go third party. Yang will go third party, just like Tulsi. I don't know if Tulsi will. Yeah, Yang definitely could. Okay, nice one. He started doing your apprenticeship. What are you doing it in? Bernie will endorse it if it's a nom. Yeah, third party rounds are doomed to fail in America. Hickenlooper, yeah, he's coming back for the big one. Isn't he running for Senate somewhere? I think Bernie winning the Dem primary would be impactful, not just him getting that far, but because it would totally humiliate people like Pelosi. Yeah, it would be so good if he won. What are my thoughts on The Last of Us 2, Bernie 2020? Yeah, it looks really good. I really like number 1. I only completed it twice. But yeah, I'm hyped for it. I'm hyped for playing as Ellie. I always like playing as Ellie. And yeah, it's just Naughty Dog games are always really good. I find myself not playing them again much though. I only completed Uncharted 4 once and I did really like it, and I like Lost Legacy as well. But for example, I just got The Witcher 3 on Nintendo Switch, and that's the 4th time I'm playing that game. So, and it's actually really good on the Switch, surprisingly. It's actually crazy they've got it on fucking handheld. So mental. Construction, my guy. Okay, nice. You're better than me. I'm too lazy for something like that. Yang's here more on the same candidate. Yang's more interesting, I guess, but still. Alright, Eric, good night. Cheers for joining. Yeah, email me if you want to talk about the podcast over. Starbucks guy might risk the imagination of a new kind of third party. We'll take the lot. That could be the new socialist thing. No, this is what it's going to be. If I ever do merch one day, this is going to be on the t-shirt. And we can, like, I don't know what picture we're going to have. So look, this is I just commented, this is what's going to be on my t-shirt if I ever make one. I don't think he's running Antilles. I think he dropped out. Yeah, he promised not to run back in September. He didn't even start running, did he? Okay, Houston. Have a good day at work. Yeah, thanks, man. Enjoy. I've been looking at doing remote customer service so I don't have to leave my house. What's that? You just people ringing you up and stuff? Yes, socialists taking Harry Potter away from the liberals. Oh, okay, thanks, Christy. I'll send you a link next time. Okay, nice. We'll take the fucking lot. I want that shirt. Bernie vid. We'll take. Yeah, we'll start chanting that when we're like at the gates of Buckingham Palace. Wait, let me have a look. Harry Potter, communist. Let me see if there's any like good pictures. There's one. That's alright. Harry Potter becomes a communist. This one. So we'll have that on a t-shirt. And just be like, we'll take the lot. I think that's the best we can do. Alright. It's getting late, so let's see, it's comments and then I love Harry Potter. Just picked up some earrings. It was on TV today actually. After I started saying this crap to myself loads, and then it was just Chamber of Secrets on TV, and I went downstairs. You should debate Jeremy Paul. Who's Jeremy Paul? Is this another? I keep getting debate recommendations of. I think you asked me this before, did you? No, Jeremy Paul. YouTube. Oh, fuck off. Oh, okay. I'm not. He just seems like some unhinged nutcase. It's like that other guy who was he wanted me to debate him. Not the Sinatra Says, the other one who made a video on me. You're a Bolshevik, Harry. It's like the next book. I want to say Harry Pinko, that sounds inappropriate. Yeah. How many debates has he done? I've never done any debates. I don't know how many debates this guy's done. Yeah, general public, I totally agree with you. Because the thing is with online debates, right? I guess if you have a neutral space, like the serfs offered to do a debate between, but it's not even neutral, because the serfs are on my side and they agree with me, and the serfs said they could host a debate between me and Sinatra Says, and I just said, to me, debates are essentially, it's bad faith, because if I'm going on their channel, their argument is always, oh man, Eric, thanks a lot, man. Down payment on the cam shirt. Oh, actually, since you said that, all right. If I had a reasonably priced Harry Potter merch shirt, will take the lot on it. How many people would consider buying one? You don't have to say you'd actually buy one. If it was reasonably priced on like my merch store or something, if I ever did it, and it had "will take the lot" on it with Harry Potter's face and some sort of communist stuff, how many people would consider buying one? What's that say? No wonder. Let's make more for stuff. Yeah, so debates normally, but yeah, thanks a lot, Eric. I really appreciate it, man. But debates to me is like you go on someone's channel, they bad faith debate with you, and then their audience will jump down your throat talking about how much you lost. So I just can't bother with that shit. Yeah. Also, the American election season just lasts so long. It's pretty exhausting. Sarah, I was planning on drawing you something dumb since it's your birthday coming up. I guess I'll draw you a t-shirt after. Oh, that's really nice of you. And thanks for remembering it's my birthday. It's my birthday in a month and 5 days, 19th November. I'll be 24. Oh, damn. That's too old. I started my YouTube channel when I was 21. But yeah. Sarah, if you want to do something, if you do seriously want to do something nice, some sort of Harry Potter themed socialist thing with "we'll take the lot." I would love to see something like that. John Adams said, "There's nothing I dread so much as the division of the Republic into two great parties. That is to be dreaded as the greatest political evil under our Constitution." John Adams. Yeah, the founding fathers were pretty flawed, but they do have some good quotes. That's a good one as well. Oh, thanks, Curious Wonder, again. Cav, Craig, Clover merchandise for us. Thanks, man. Curious Wonder, you give me too much money. I really appreciate it, though. I always appreciate donations. So Kennedy's ready to throw hands. I'm short, I'm full of rage. I've never been big on fighting. I'm really not aggressive at all. At football, like, football sometimes it kicks off, and I like do get pissed off. Like, this guy, the last five-a-side game I played like a couple months ago, he kept fouling me, and I just said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then he just squared up to me straight away and was shouting in my face, calling me a pussy. And I was like, I didn't even react. I was like, how am I a pussy? I literally just said to you, "What the fuck are you doing?" And another time, this guy just kept fouling me and my brother, and then we both like we pushed him around. That's the extent of my violence. But I felt bad afterwards. Like, I think I'm too empathetic. Even though I do get aggressive, I just feel too awful afterwards. Which of them are not nutcases? The most stable conservative YouTube is Michael Brooks' Right Wing Mandela. Who's a libertarian dork who always wears fingerless gloves? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd consider it. Hell yeah, I'd get it. I'd consider it. I would buy it. Okay, nice. I want to make lots of money on this Harry Potter shirt. And only for people in on the joke. Original pick was going to be you standing on the docks in the middle of the Boston Tea Party holding a teacups tag, drinking fucking tea, America. That was a really good idea as well, Sarah. Do whatever you want to do, but you don't have to do anything, but it's super nice that you're even considering it, to be honest. Means of production, we take the lot. That should be the caption. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. That should be the caption. And it can be Harry. Wait, this little screen grab of him. We'll take the fucking lot, mate. That's stupid. So wait, it's got to be... Okay, it's got to be like this. This picture. I actually find it so funny how many of you actually knew what I was talking about. It's like from the first fucking Harry Potter, and it's at such a stupid moment. We'll take the lot. We'll take the fucking lot, mate. I'll take a couple of your shirts. Yes, John. General Public said, what really annoys me about debates is just that one guy, Destiny, he's so annoying and exhausting. Yeah, to be honest, I don't really watch his stuff, but yeah, he seems super disingenuous, and lately he's saying how he says the N-word all the time and thinking that's okay. Yeah, hashtag we'll take the lot. We'll take the lot. Hammer and sickle. Do it. I want to look into it. It's just quite funny. Oh, the cringiest thing ever, right, is when some... Okay, I'm not going to say this too bad. The cringiest thing ever is when really small YouTubers... I'm just talking about as a general point, not as anyone I know, think they're famous, and they start making loads of merch and shit. Because my brother... has 1 million subs, and he has merch, and it doesn't like sell like amazing. It's pretty nice stuff. I actually have one of the jumpers. I wear it quite a lot, but it's not like it makes money, but it's not like super like amazing profits and stuff. So like, why the fuck are you having a merch store when like I'm talking about mainly like commentary YouTubers like who do like Logan Paul and stuff. Like, who are you even selling this to? Especially with these sorts of audience, because I can understand having merch if you're like a political channel, because I feel like political channels a lot of the time you're more engaged with your audience, and they're also a lot older as well. But when you're like doing that sort of commentary shit, like a lot of your audience are children, and they're not buying anything, and they don't actually like you. They're just like what you're talking about, like in terms of like they like Logan Paul but don't actually like you. I'm a white person from Ohio. We do family brawls. Family brawls. I couldn't imagine having a brawl with my family. Yeah, no, Michael, I subscribe to is it Bo? Is that how you say it? Bo, the fifth column. I prefer saying Buvo. Bo in Animal Crossing, the deer. That's what it makes me think of. Tea Party pick was based on a weird dream I had. What was the dream? Yeah, I'm aware of Bew, yeah. You can be too empathetic. Empathy is the root of morality. You can't be too empathetic. Yeah, I think my problem is even when I'm watching something cringy, I can't watch it because I put myself in a situation. So if I'm watching like Scott Tots from The Office, you know, when he promises that whole class in that school that he'll pay for their college, and then he has to tell them no. Oh, they do that dance to him. Oh my god, that is the worst fucking thing ever. And also the dinner party episode. General Public saying, I like both Cenk and Hassan, but even their debate was annoying. and made Cenk go in a very neoliberal direction away from his usual social democracy. It seemed counterproductive. That video was so funny with Hassan and Cenk. It literally looked like what it was. It looked like some dad, or in this case his uncle, dragging him on the show to be like, apologise because like you're damaging our brand. It was actually really funny to see. Like Hassan looks like a little kid next to Cenk. Your dad thinks we should take Mexico's laws cheaper, and then Guatemalan refugees don't have to cross for another country. What the hell? You can't just take another country. I want to buy Curtis Connor merch. He's Curtis Connor, but his aesthetic is dope. Is this a smaller YouTuber? Or a podcaster? You can just get like super generic merch stores, can't you? Alright, let's have a look. Oh, okay, he does t-shirt stuff. Oh, he has fucking 2 million subs. Is he like... Oh, okay, just like a general YouTuber. He's not like anything specific. Mexico's about to get free healthcare, so we'd fuck it up, yeah. He's a big commentary YouTuber. Yeah, it looks like it. Even though he doesn't look like he covers as much stuff as like my brother in terms of like Logan Paul things. I always wondered why America didn't conquer Mexico. I thought Americans would like Mexican because I guess they just go there on holiday, don't they? I get too much cringe from stuff like that too, yeah. Don't remember now, but Americans are being brats and you were all cool and there were icebergs and transport across the world for your YouTube support. That's so fucking weird. Dreams are always crazy. I had a really weird dream last night that I killed Martin Sheen, but he was Uncle Ben, like, because he was Uncle Ben in one of the Spider-Man films, and I just felt really bad about it. My girlfriend was having a go at me, and I was like, you don't need to tell me, I just killed Uncle Ben, and it was so weird. Maybe because I've been watching too much of those old... No, I haven't watched that Spider-Man in ages, but... Your brother's Logan Paul. No, my brother hates Logan Paul. Wait, we'll end on something else fun. Alright, does anyone want to see the... Apart from We'll Take the Lot, does anyone want to see the best fucking scene in movie history? We'll Take the Lot is one of them, but this one might be even better. This bit when he's fucking eating the cookies and she makes him... Look. This fucking song as well.
Chemistry is not unlike the chondritic meteorites of the 70s.
Look, he tells her to go make him some more.
You know what, Parker?
It's so fucking crazy.
It amplifies characteristics of its host. Take me out of it.
I want to get copyright strike now. Alright, here's the best bit. This is my next t-shirt. Put this bit on the t-shirt. Oh no, my stream is getting copyright striked. They detected it. Oh no, I'm done. That other YouTube video didn't get copyright strike. Yeah, exactly. I'm back. Not strike, but like it says I have copyright and stuff in my video. Not that it really matters for me. I don't monetize. Well, this doesn't get monetized properly. You're trash, bro. Just say it was for educational purposes. Yeah. Alright, oh no, I missed the tea. So, anyway, I think I'll end it here. So, I've been streaming for 2 hours and a half, very long, for de-educational purposes. Yeah, exactly. So, I won't be streaming next Sunday, because I'm going away for a bit. and I can't see myself. Yeah, I just won't be streaming next Sunday. So, will I ever be talking about Red Pill enthusiasts? Probably not. In terms of this week, I don't know what I'm going to make videos on. I'm not too sure. I'm going to have to look it up online. I wanted to talk about cultural Marxism and cultural Bolshevism, sort of how Jordan Peterson's hysteria about that stuff is really linked to Nazism. I'm not saying he's a Nazi, but how a Nazi sort of invented this shit. But I'm gonna see. I'm not too sure what I'm gonna do yet. Happy early birthday! Yeah, don't worry. I might do a birthday stream when I actually have my birthday, so you'll know. Will humans on this tiny fleck of sand flying through space be nice and love each other? Life's too short. Yeah, I agree with that. Most people don't though. Thanks for streaming. Hope your computer's fevers go down. Yeah, hopefully. Jordan Peter's Nazi adjacent. He's very loves to blame the Nazis on the atheists for some reason. But yeah, good night everyone. Thanks for joining me. Look out on the channel for some videos. Yeah, so no stream next Sunday, but definitely we'll pick it up again the Sunday afterwards. And anyone who donated, I appreciate it. All the regulars, I appreciate it as well. Just take into your daily life that if anyone offers you like one thing, just say we'll take the lot in response, because you got to have it all. But yeah, cheers everyone. Appreciate all your support as always, as usual.